Thank you, Coach. Take care. It was even before Gregg Marshall left, there was an issue. They had started to slip a little bit. It's hard to remember how good that program was.
There was a time where Marshall was mentioned for the Alabama job. I think it was before Anthony Grant, or it might have been Avery Johnson.
When they hired Grant, maybe, or maybe it was when they hired.
It was one of those two, but they were like the Koch brothers in Wichita. They're not going to let this guy go.
Oh, and I think he had. I don't know if anybody reached out to him, but I think he'd let it be known that he thought Wichita State was a better job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, he'd already been to a Final Four, as Andy said there. I think he had 4 or 5 30-plus win seasons.
And those Koch brothers, very important.
And when people were getting canceled, he's one of the guys that got canceled. And he got, I think, close to $8 million to walk away.
I do not think he's working in basketball. I don't know what he's doing right now.
I don't think he does anything.
That guy completely disappeared. He was maybe the hottest name in coaching at one point. For hires, people are making hires. 2007
to 2020, 337 wins and 119 losses. Had a 74% winning percentage at Wichita State.
They were in the Final Four, and then I think the next year they were a 1 seed, were they not?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. I don't think they were a 1 seed the year they made the Final Four, but then the next year they were like 35-1 or 35-0 or something like that, and they were a 1 seed, and they got bounced early. But that guy had them in the national conversation every single year.
Yeah, like Andy said, 1 seed that
that's right.
Got the bad Kentucky 8-9 Kentucky team.
They did.
That's a bad draw right there, and bad seeding by that committee. All right, Legacy Credit Union, swapanddrop.com, swapanddrop.com for Andy. Also, Michaelson Laser Vision bringing you part of the show today.
Yeah, call, ask for Amy, tell her the next round sent you, 205-969-8100. Dr. Mark Michaelson, the first to perform the laser procedure in the state of Alabama back in 1995, a true pioneer, him and his daughter. Dr. Jen Michaelson, the best in the business. I'm speaking from experience. I got the procedure done over 2 decades ago. I still have 2015 vision, better than 2020. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Ask her about that pre-inflation pricing. For more information, michaelsonlaservision.com.
By the way, final thought, no running backs are going to be tagged this year in the NFL. No franchise tag that would have carried with it an $11.9 million one-year salary. So that means that will tell you that the payroll that you will pay for a good running back is going to be less than $11.9 million, because that's the average of the top 5 on the market. Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Pollard from the Cowboys, Eckler from the Chargers, and Derrick Henry from the Titans. Those 5 guys and more available as free agents, apparently all for less than $11 million.
Yeah. It's just the market's dead, man.
It really is. If I'm a kid, I'm finding another position to play.
Yep. Now think about that. We increased the cap by 13.6%, and still you're not willing to tag any of those running backs to give them that money that you tagged. You're going to let them go and just running back by committee.
Who won the Super Bowl?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
And their running back is?
Pacheco. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, but Edwards-Helaire was a guy they stole. Well, I shouldn't say stole. They got him at the very end of the first round, and their go-to guy is Pacheco.
Yeah. Who they are not paying $11 million.
Yep. All right. So that's no franchise tags in the NFL. Combine conversation continues tomorrow in Indianapolis. We go back to college football as Auburn hits the practice field tomorrow, or today. You'll hear about them tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central right here. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live Daily Show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
You've been wearing that thin, raggedy t-shirt for years now, and people cannot stop whispering and staring in your vicinity. We've all been there. Luckily, there's a solution to your lack of fashion and social cues. At NextRound.store, they have plenty of options when it comes to a variety of shirts and hats. Once you start putting that next round gear on, be prepared to make new lifelong friends and hundreds of unforgettable conversations. Hope you like random high fives in the street, because that's what you're getting after visiting nextround.store.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Big basketball tonight. We'll get to all that coming up momentarily as we are live in Tuscaloosa. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and the whole crew spread out between here, inside the Malmore building on the campus of the University of Alabama, and back in Birmingham. Basketball is big tonight, but it's got a little SEC football media day feel today as we're in Tuscaloosa in the Alabama football building with the opportunity to talk with the head coach, the OC, and the defensive coordinator of the University of Alabama as they get ready to take the spring practice field on Monday.
You know, there was I guess this is still the way it is for the masses. We kind of judge facilities on what you've got stadium-wise because,
That's right.
you know, we don't have a lot of this access. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't been in this building in, 20 years. I don't know how long it's been. It's been a long time. You wonder, can you get a building that's nicer?
It would be hard. I mean, everything that this building has needed to have been added on over the last 15 years has been the old green check mark, and they built it. I mean, downstairs, you've got those rehab pools. You've got, I think Little T was looking for some photos to promote this, and she goes, "Oh my God, they've got pools in there!" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, they've got everything. It's gold-plated pools, Little T."
I mean, the bathrooms are beautiful.
I know, no, it's a top-of-the-line building.
But we all rode in different cars, and so I was looking for you guys, and I stumbled through the trophy room where you've got 4 Heisman trophies, you've got all 32 helmets represented, and you've got a digital.
That was the main trophy room. Yeah. You didn't make it trophy room B or trophy room C.
See, I mean, I was wondering where they stored everything.
Yeah, the Independence Bowl trophies there in the basement.
But they've got a rotation going on, kind of a ticker, and kind of where you would get the shield in every helmet, and it's got the players that were actually drafted by those organizations from Alabama, and it's an amazing facility.
It really is. I mean, again, seriously, anything. I think Alabama, when Nick Saban got here, they were behind facility. Well, I don't think that. I know that. They were behind facility-wise when Nick Saban got here, and Nick Saban quickly realized one of the main things about recruiting is facilities. I mean, this is what the players see every day. They go to the stadium, 10 times a year, for some scrimmages and some actual games. They see this every single day. So this is what wins recruits over.
That's right. Locker rooms.
Yeah.
And such at the stadium are important 10 times a year. Your locker room here, you're in every day. Your weight room here, you're in every day. Training room here, break rooms, film rooms, all that stuff. This is where it's at when it comes to recruiting.
I wouldn't leave here. I'd take my classes online. Every now and then I'd bob in just to see what was around, check out the surroundings.
Yeah. Maybe meet that teacher face to face, bump up the letter grade.
Yeah, I'm on the football team. Right?
But I would spend the majority of my time here. There's no doubt about it. And look, this place is set up for success. When you get transitions with other big programs, and I'll use Texas as an example, because obviously it wasn't working under Tom Herman. So Sarkisian comes in, and you understand there's going to be a little bit of a grace period and acclimation and getting that program moving in the right direction. There's going to be zero excuses. Like, it's the expectation next year for Alabama fans, I would assume, is not only getting to a college football playoff, but making a little noise once you get to that college football playoff. And I think anything short of that, I think Alabama fans are going to be really, really disappointed.
That's why I'm looking forward to talking to not only Kalen DeBoer coming up. He's scheduled to be with us around 11:30 Central Time, final hour of the show, if you're planning ahead with us. But also Nick Sheridan, who has spent some time with him at a couple of stops. He'll join us. He'll be the first coach to pop in with us. at 10 o'clock Central Time to start hour 2 to see what kind of facilities they left at Washington, which I would put probably high in college football.
Yeah, Washington to me, I don't know. Now that they go to the Big Ten, I think you can make an argument it's like an A- job, definitely a B+.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the A++, but it's a really good job, and I would assume with all their money, they've got great resources and facilities.
Because Kalen DeBoer took this job without really ever setting foot on campus, right? So you take the job, you're committed to be the Alabama head coach before you're coming here.
Yeah.
He just assumed that as Greg Byrne was pitching him on Alabama and talking about everything you need here, that the greatest coach of all time had pretty good film rooms and break rooms and locker rooms and pretty much anything he needed here at the University of Alabama. He didn't need to come kick the tires of this program.
Well, look, he knew that you can win championships and what Nick Saban's been able to do. But look, I just booked a place on Verbo this week, and I need to see those pictures. Now, a lot of that time is misleading. Do you think you send over a package if you're Greg Byrne and like, hey, look, this is what the facilities look like?
It's a Verbo package, like, here's the weight room.
I don't know. I get sold on those things. We got sold a bill of goods in Sherman Oaks.
That's the thing I've learned on Verbo is anybody can make a house look good. Anybody can make any house look good. I mean, you take pictures from the right angles, you clean them up a little bit, any house looks good. You got to be super careful on those Airbnb and Verbos. That's one reason, like, hotel, I pretty much know what I'm getting based on the name on the outside of the hotel, right? Verbo, it is a crapshoot. Now, I've had some really good ones, too, though. I've had some where it lived up and maybe even exceeded what I saw in the photos.
You agree, when we went to Rose Bowl for Michigan and Alabama, and we stayed in Sherman Oaks, what looked like kind of a palace.
Yeah, we got the best day of photos they ever had.
Ever.
Yep.
Yeah, so we bought into what looked to be an A, and it was more of a C. Is that fair?
And those photos were probably taken in 2013.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt.
They were not new. That empty chair right there is where Nick Sheridan, the offensive coordinator, will join us at 10 Central. Kane Wommack will be in that chair at 10:45 this morning, the defensive coordinator, and Kalen DeBoer will come in at 11:30 Central Time. And who knows who will walk in between now and then? You never know, but we'll talk some basketball and some other things going on in football, including some interesting odds that we'll jump into in the very next segment on just to make the college football playoffs. 9 teams are at minus odds, which means they're favorites, and then the rest of college football is at plus odds. We'll break that all down coming up in segment number 2 today on the show that's being brought to you by a couple of great folks. One of them, New York Butcher Shop, the fine folks who help us enjoy our weekends.
Yeah, rare quality, well-done service. If you're looking for the finest in fillets, ribs, chicken, those huge deli sandwiches, get in and see Jim at one of those 2 great locations, the original Icaba Heights, the newest location on Highway 119 in Greystone. They've got a great selection of fine wines and desserts. One-stop dinner shop, 2 locations. It's the New York Butcher Shop.
And also our friends at Johnston RV Center, johnstonrvcenter.com. Spent some time with them, Brownie, this past weekend at the RV show down at the BJCC.
We did, and RV show pricing continues done away. Even though the RV show is over, they will continue the pricing there throughout the month of February. We got one more day of February after today.
One more.
That's it. That's going to be
bonus day. It's a bonus day.
Bonus day of February, but Johnston RV, you can get that RV show pricing still there on the lot, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. You can always find them online, johnstonrvcenter.com. That is johnstonrvcenter.com. We always remind you that RV Warranty Forever covers the lifetime warranty on everything they sell that is new and under 2 years of age. Lifetime warranty there at Johnston RV Center. See more. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, where you're still getting that RV show pricing. Also 334 in Decatur, and always online, johnstonrvcenter.com.
All right, Rockstar, let's talk a little basketball. Only cuts 1 and 3 as we get going here tonight. It's a great doubleheader for you on ESPN2 to sit back and watch Auburn early and then Alabama late in 2 meaningful SEC championship race games tonight. And we'll start first with Bruce Pearl, head coach of the Auburn Tigers. 6 o'clock as they're on the road at Tennessee. In the AP poll, it's number 11 versus number 4, with Auburn 11 and Tennessee 4. In KenPom, it's Auburn 5, Tennessee 6. So a meaningful game with huge NCAA seeding implications, especially if Auburn can get a road win at Tennessee. Here's Bruce Pearl on the magnitude of this game tonight in Knoxville.
It's almost March, and we're still playing for championships. There just aren't many teams in the country that could say that, particularly in a league this good. There are 6 teams right now in our league that are within a game or two of first place. And so every game now, home or on the road, are precious. Tennessee, I think, I've been saying all along, I think they're the best team in the league. And I haven't played them yet. So we're fixing to find out. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country. I think we went up there last year and it was a 46-43 rock fight. Our defense has been good. It'll have to be at its very best, and it'd be great if we could keep making shots.
Yeah, now he said something there that I think people forget. They went up there last year and it was a 46-43 rock fight with a shot clock. With a shot clock, it was 46-43.
That's hard to do.
These are 2 of the better defensive teams, not only in the SEC, but in the country. I don't know what the over-under is tonight, but it's hard for me, no matter what it is, to play the over in this contest.
Well, look, this is a team that is 13-1 at home. They achieved their highest ranking, and things got interesting in the SEC this past week with Alabama losing. Now, Alabama and Tennessee are tied for first. Jalen Williams is going to be the biggest question mark. He's going to travel with the team. Is he going to play or not? For them to get the win without Jalen this past weekend, Chad Baker-Mazara really stepping up, having a season-high 25. That was a great moment for Auburn. I just don't think in this situation without Jalen Williams you can win this game.
Yeah, as he said, it's got a March feeling to it. It really does because of the SEC regular season implications, which obviously Bruce Pearl takes very seriously. It is very, very difficult for Auburn to win the conference without the win here. It's going to be, they're going to have to thread a needle if they cannot get this win tonight to still win the conference. Now, they're going to be helped by the fact that Alabama and Tennessee play Saturday, so that will pick off a team that is still in front of them, but it's a tall order if you can't win this one to win the conference. There is a path. Auburn's got the best path, but still, you would like to grab this one in terms of winning the Southeastern Conference.
That's 6 o'clock tonight. Then Bama in first place on the road at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is one of those teams that are on the outside looking in, one of the next 4 out, according to Lenardi's bracketology. 8 o'clock tonight, ESPN2, Chris Stewart and the gang on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, if you want to listen to that. But here is Nate Oates talking about mentality when it comes to defense. They've got a couple of practices in since the disaster defensive effort up at Kentucky. Can they buy in defensively on the road tonight at Ole Miss? Here's Nate.
What kind of ownership do you sense the guys are taking in defense?
Yeah, it's I think they were embarrassed. It'd be hard not to after giving up 117. So I'm embarrassed that team I coach was that poor defensively. But, it's comes and goes with the ownership. It's, you get embarrassed, play really hard. I told them it's got to become who you are. It can't be you get motivated after a bad outing. And so, they're motivated right now because they just gave up 117. We'll see if we face a little adversity tomorrow, how long the motivation lasts, and can they make it become who they are rather than just, short motivational, I'm going to play hard because I got embarrassed the last play or the last game or the last 4 minutes. So I do think enough of them care, but we'll see if they care enough to make a lasting change.
A little bit of a manhood game tonight for Alabama.
Yeah, I will be extremely disappointed in Alabama's leadership if they don't have one of, if not the best defensive performances of the season tonight. You got semi-embarrassed against Florida, but you won the game. You got outright embarrassed against Kentucky. And if your leadership doesn't step up and fix that internally without Nate Oates having to say a word, you've got some leadership issues. The veterans on this team, the Mark Sears of the world and the Aaron Estradas of the world, the guys that have played a lot of basketball have got to step up and fix this internally as best you can. To some extent, Lance, they are who they are defensively, but if they are not giving extreme effort defensively every single play, that is very, very concerning about this team.
Yeah, look, offense we know is not a problem. You had 6 guys in double figures this past weekend. You surpassed 80 points for the 8th consecutive game, but you give up 117. And we've had two examples. I brought this up of coaches calling out their team. John Calipari, they responded.
Yep.
Rick Pitino, they responded. Nate Oates has now done it. We'll see how they respond. It's really interesting, though, because Ole Miss, like most teams, really good at home, but they've lost 5 of 6 overall, and they go from being a 3.5-point favorite against a good South Carolina team this past weekend at home to being a 5.5-point underdog against Alabama. I mean, that's a 9-point swing.
Well, statistically, again, I'll point out their defense statistically is worse than Alabama's. And I know a lot of people look at scores and say, well, that doesn't make sense. But statistically, they're a worse defensive team than Alabama by a decent margin.
Yeah. I bet they're not in Oxford, though.
Well, I mean, I think any team's obviously going to be better at home.
It's a great point. You're talking about one of those metrics where how a team plays defensively at home as opposed to defensively on the road, offensively at home, offensively on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I'll grant you that, but I don't know that it closes the gap enough. I mean, you're talking about the best offense in America. They're about to play, according to KenPom.
Yeah, look.
Best offensive efficiency in America. You got to be much better at home if you're Ole Miss.
I did not see this number coming where it is. I mean, I've seen it as high as 6.5. I think it'll settle around 5.5. That's a big road number when you're talking about a team that is on the bubble right now with Ole Miss and Alabama coming off a 22-point loss. I was surprised where it came at, but that tells me that Vegas says Alabama should win this game.
They should, but this is absolute desperation for Ole Miss. This is probably if they're going to get to the NCAA tournament, this might be their ticket. So you wonder, I mean, that can affect you more than, I mean, you got so much mental here, right? Ole Miss, their mental deal is trying to get in the NCAA tournament by beating Alabama. For Alabama, their mental is, we got to play better defense, and they've got to have the veteran leadership step up and fix that.
UAB at home tonight as well, 7 o'clock against Wichita State. You can go back wherever you get our podcast, video or audio, and hear our interview yesterday with Andy Kennedy on the show about that game, 7 o'clock tonight, as UAB tries to hold on to the 2 seed in the American. One more thing to get to in this opening segment about NIL that came down at the end of the show yesterday. I messed up by not getting it in at the end. I should have, but we'll do it right here off the start. But tell us about Hemphill. They were out at a couple of our viewers' places yesterday.
I think they were a little T. Hemphill out there yesterday? Nope. Got that confused.
Anyway,
hey.
Got one of these.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been a lot of different places. I've actually called them out 3 times for different people in the last 3-4 weeks. 205-229-2090. That is the number you need to call. Since 1954, for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Adam, Chad, Andrew. The guys there, hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Listen, I'm human. I covet other things I shouldn't, but there's sometimes I'll look at somebody and I'm like, God, I wish I had their hair. Or God, I wish I had their abs. Or I wish I had their house or their car. Never really coveted an NIL deal before,
right?
Until Jackson's Darts NIL deal yesterday comes down.
I hadn't seen it.
Oh, you've not seen this?
It is.
You're going to love it.
It must be great. I mean, I Aston Martin before, right?
Oh, this is better.
It's with Nichols Air, and he gets the use of a private jet a certain amount of hours a year for personal use, for training use, to help with his charities, whatever he needs to do. Little private jet NIL. Now we're talking on something that interests me because I've got a nice car.
Well, this is what your dad, he carries you to Little League and he takes you to practice and he throws in the backyard with you. This is his benefit now.
Yeah.
Like, son, you really don't need to be flying all these places.
You know, your mom and I really want to go to the beach.
Look, in Jackson Dart, you guys know from his first time I ever saw him in Pullman against Washington State for USC, I'm a Jackson Dart fan. I don't know if he deserves a jet.
Well, just by going on 3 Sports, that evaluation that they put together, which is not a real number, it's just an evaluation that they use where you can
fun to look at, though.
Yeah.
He is 7th or 8th or 9th in quarterback.
Yeah, that's about right, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that if you did top 10 quarterbacks coming into 2024, probably would have him in the top 10, but he'd be in the back half.
Right.
Yeah. Can I make a point about this, though? When I say you're going to fly somewhere in a jet, you don't own the jet, but you're going to do one of those, timeshare things or whatever they call it. Give me the brands you think of.
Oh, Wheels Up.
Wheels Up. That's very prominent on game day. And you see it a lot and you see NetJets a lot on the PGA Tour. And then I've seen one with a guy from, what's that show where people try to convince you to Shark Tank? It's like Badgett, BAG.
Okay, is it Brown about to go Nichols Air as like the JetBlue of private jets?
Brown's about to go. I'd never heard of Nichols Air until this deal, so it's not the worst deal for Nichols Air. I mean,
remember when Milo's iced tea got national recognition when they signed on early on with the Alabama and Auburn player on the very, very first few days you could do NIL.
Oh, yeah. They were one of the first of the game. Yeah.
They got Sports Center, you know.
And there were a lot of people, in Idaho's like, I don't know what Milo's is, but
money well spent.
In the I was thinking about this last night. I was in bed, I was trying to fall asleep, and I was watching a show called Heist on Netflix. It's a new and I only saw like 15 minutes of it. But the reason I bring it up, I think the first story is about a chick that worked for like Brinks, and she did an inside job and stole like $3 million cash. But it just shows her and her boyfriend in a private jet. And all I could think about was that episode of Succession, the final season, where Alex Skarsgård goes on to Shiv's jet, and he's like looking at, and he's basically criticizing the jet.
Yeah.
And like, at what level do you get to when you can actually criticize a jet? And that's all I could think about. Like, if we ever had a jet, it would be like back to like properties down at the beach. It would be like the old wallpaper, like they hadn't decorated. It's got like seahorses on the wall since the 1970s. That's the kind of jet we would have.
Like Dunaway would have to, he'd have to do the prop like that and get it started.
Yeah.
I'd have to roll our windows down.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have to push it out on the tarmac.
But apparently not Jackson Dart. Good for him, though. I mean, how many hours does he get? Does it say?
I haven't seen that part.
Yeah, it's in the fine print. I didn't get to that. I know this. We're that time of year now where coming back from God's country, 30A, on a Sunday, that you can hit that traffic right there.
Better Sunday than Saturday.
Yeah. Or Saturday, whenever the traffic day is, when you're out of the condos.
You're going to want that jet?
Boy, that jet back from 30A, you'd be back in 45 minutes instead of getting stuck in that traffic.
I bet Jackson Dart could make it from Oxford to Cabo on a private jet in less than 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds about right.
I mean, that's what I would say, though. I'd be like, okay, I like the NIL deal, but
let's put this to the test.
I want to be able to really endorse you guys.
That's right. I want to try the product first. Yeah.
So what does it hold? It holds 11 or 12. Okay, then I'm going to bring 10 of my friends. We're going to go to Cabo.
Yep.
You drop us for a weekend.
Perhaps you've heard of Ole Miss Co-eds.
Yeah.
Or you could just do this. It's Saturday, the early game. So you leave after the 11 o'clock kick. You go to Cabo. Your Sunday's the day off. Then you fly back in time for practice on Monday.
I'll see you boys at practice. I'm headed to Cabo.
I wouldn't be surprised if Lane Kiffin would give a thumbs up and endorse it.
Yeah, Lane would say,
you got played well.
Yeah.
Just don't get hurt.
Lane will be breaking down film
on the jet. That's right, on the jet.
He wouldn't be breaking down film. He'd be sending out tweets.
Yeah.
Just popping those things left and right.
Lane would be like,
Jackson's not available for interviews on Sunday. He's in training.
Yeah. So Jackson, jet holds 12. That is right, Coach. All right, so it's me, you, and that leaves room for 10 co-eds.
Yeah.
All right, so good for Jackson Dart.
Pilot wouldn't even be flying, be looking back. What's going on here?
LT's got 4 downs. Also, Greg Sankey, every time he's on the show with us.
It's been a while, by the way.
If Greg Sankey, the last time he was on with us for 2 hours.
Yeah, that's true. We got a lot in that day.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything left to talk to Greg Sankey about.
We're coming up on eight months.
We'll circle back around.
He's been a little busy this week trying to plot the future of college athletics. But every time Greg's on, if LT does not have a list for him, he gets a little upset that LT doesn't have a list for him. Well, when Kalen DeBoer joins the show after 11:30, LT has a list for him to wrap up the day with. So we'll do some serious conversation with Kalen and then a list for did you ever do one with Coach Saban? You did, didn't you?
No, I don't think so. But I have noticed Saban's biggest influence on this building,
which is,
and that's the height chart over there. He got it. It's misleading. It's an inch off. So I don't know if Saban's like you, where he lists himself at like 5'10", but he's really like 5'8.5". Like you like to say you're 6 feet, but we know you're 5'10.5", 5'11". Well, that thing's got me at 6'4", and there ain't no chance.
That's media guide height.
I was going to tell you earlier that we had an incident where I went and stood beside it, and to show you how. I mean, I'm a C student. I'm not smart. You know that.
We're all C students.
And so I get over there, and because I used to say I was 6 foot, and then you beat me down to where I said I was 5'11.5".
Can I see the driver's license though? Just let me see it.
Then I was 5'11". I'm probably still 6 foot on the driver's license. I don't have it with me.
Because I've always said the women lie about the weight on the driver's license, men lie about the height.
Yep. Yeah. So I was over there and I was by the chart and I was looking over at side-eyeing it, trying to see what it was. And I could only see 5'8". And I was like, this isn't right. And then our buddy Josh Maxson pointed out, and he's like, you realize, dumbass, that your eyes are here and the top of your head's here, right? You got that Peyton Manning forehead. That you've got more height. They were saying I was closer to 5'11" than I thought it was.
It looked 6 feet, but you were to the sides.
Well, I mean, this is an inch off, though, so 5'11" makes sense.
Yeah.
So this isn't official combine?
No, it's an inch off.
A full inch off.
It's a full inch off.
Damn it. I was feeling really good at where I was. All right, when we come back, betting odds to make the college football playoff. Some surprising numbers for a few. We'll look at that and talk more college football. Auburn was on the practice field yesterday. So was Missouri. Bama and LSU go out next week. So does Florida. A little football as we get ready to talk Alabama football, the final 2 hours of the show, right here on the next round, which is being brought to you in part today by our wonderful friends with the Sports Betting Alliance, LT. Big bill right now in the state government down in Alabama.
Yeah, excited about this. Your voice can be heard. Been talking to a lot of different people that have actually called their state senator. Still waiting for my phone call back on Friday.
They haven't called back yet.
No, but you know what?
Expected them to call back.
Well, he said
left him a message. I said I just wanted to talk about this. You know, if you got an issue, sometimes you feel like you can actually discuss this with your local politician. But look, a lot of people out there, we've heard from you from years. Now you've got an opportunity where the Alabama State Senate is going to soon decide if you get the right to vote on lottery, casinos, and sports betting. They need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama, one of only 12 states where you can not legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today. Tell them yes on the lottery and gaming bill. You can call 334 is the number 261-0800. That's 334-261-0800. For more information, sportsbettingalliance.org, paid for by the Sports Betting Alliance.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from the next round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Did you know that colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in America and that it affects men and women equally? If you're older than 45, Rump Shaker encourages you to talk to your doctor about screening options that are available. Colon cancer is preventable, treatable, and beatable, but early detection is the key. For more information, please visit us. Go to rumpshakerinc.org. Also, 6th annual Rump Shaker 5K coming up Saturday, March 23rd at Regents Field. You can register online, rumpshakerinc.org.
You never know what we're up to here at the Next Round. The easiest way to stay in the know with our antics and adventures is to follow the Next Round across all social media platforms at Next Round Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Whether it's Dunaway sleeping in the studio, Tim and Lunsford breaking down the latest movie release, or Game Day Chronicles, we are here to keep you updated on the latest sports news while, of course, having just a little bit of fun. Follow at Next Round Live across all platforms to join in.
Sports fans, Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today. Tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. It's paid for by the Sports Betting Alliance. Again, sportsbettingalliance.org.
All right, back with you in Tuscaloosa. Alabama Athletic Director Gregg Byrne is going to join us as well a little bit later on this hour. 4 downs in a moment in this segment. We're going to talk college football playoff odds to make the playoffs. And you say you've got the 9 teams that are minus, that are favorites. As you think about that, I'm about to tell you about urology centers, but think about it in the context that remember some of those, you got automatic bids for a couple of conferences that could impact the odds. Not necessarily the 9.
Yeah, and I'll tell you how I feel about that. Yeah.
All right. So our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama want to remind you that staying on top of everything physically going on in your life as a man as you get older, so important. And that's why they're here to help. 35 urologists, 16 locations across Alabama, treating all of your urological needs from prostate health all the way to kidney stones and everything in between. Go to urologycentersalabama.com, urologycentersalabama.com today to set up that appointment. All right, I'll let you try to guess the 9 that are minus odds, which are favorites to make the college football playoffs, 12 teams this year. And I'll tell you if you're wrong, give me your 9.
Yeah, I think there's going to be 5 or 6 that are really easy, and then I'll get to your point on the automatic bid for the conferences. So we're going to go Georgia. We're going to go Ohio State. We're going to go Texas.
Let me say yes first, okay? Georgia, yes. Ohio State and Texas, yes.
Slow it down. I think we're going Oregon.
Oregon is yes.
I think Alabama's yes.
Alabama's a no. More on that in a moment.
Wow. Then I would have to go.
I said that, and the building did not collapse.
It did not. That was a good test right there, Jimmy.
Is Michigan a yes?
Michigan is a yes.
I don't see how with that schedule.
Yeah.
Boy, we looked at that schedule yesterday. That's brutal.
And we've seen Alabama with attrition before and losing a ton to the NFL, and they bounce right back. We haven't seen this with Michigan yet.
And they lost a coach.
But you know how these odds are on reputation and just feeling with the betting public. Michigan won the national championship. Sharon Moore was part of that coaching staff. They didn't have what appeared to be the mass exodus after the coaching change. And it was very, very different played in the media here in Tuscaloosa, right? So you could see where the streets would feel differently about Michigan, even though those of us that are in the know don't think Michigan is going to be a shoo-in even to make the playoffs.
Yeah, one of the easiest things a couple of years ago in this exercise would have been Clemson out of the ACC, but I'm going to say Florida State is that team in the ACC.
Florida State is a favorite.
Okay, I cannot believe that Ole Miss is going to be a favorite over Alabama, but based on schedule, Ole Miss has got to be one of these nights.
Ole Miss does not have minus odds.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah, here are the other ones. Clemson is in there with Florida State, so you got 2 ACC teams that are at minus odds.
So that's hedging your bets, right? They're not saying they think both those will make it, but they know one of those will make it.
That's right. Kansas State has minus odds, and Utah has minus odds.
Okay, well, here was what I was going to bring up for the Big 12. Like, I think one of those 2 teams will win the Big 12, but I don't think the Big 12 necessarily gets 2 in. So, from a gambling perspective, the way I would play this is you try to figure out which team is going to win the Big 12. You're going to get plus odds on the team to win the Big 12. And to me, you've got to win the Big 12 to get in. So why would you lay a minus odd to get into a college football playoff when I can play, Utah plus 250 to win the Big 12?
Yeah, so those are all the minuses. Again, if you're riding around and didn't see that or hear that, Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, Texas, Clemson, Florida State, Kansas State, Michigan, and Utah, all with minus odds from Bet Online. And this is when it opened. I would imagine instantly some of these change. Now the ones that are at plus odds. Miami's the first team at plus 100, another ACC team.
Wow.
Then Ole Miss at plus.
I do think Miami's
You did. You said it the other day, yeah.
Then Ole Miss at plus 175. Arizona at plus 200 with Penn State at plus 200, Tennessee at plus 200. Still haven't gotten to where we are.
Wow.
You get value for the first time in a generation, basically, for Alabama. Alabama 9-4 odds to make the playoffs, plus 225. The same odds you get with Louisville to make the playoffs.
Where's LSU?
LSU comes after that. Kansas, LSU, and Notre Dame are all plus 250.
Boy, Tennessee, that is so interesting. So that high.
So Notre Dame was going to be one of the final ones that I was going to throw in there. For Alabama, though, to be plus 225, so their win total right now is 10.5. Why would you not play the plus 220?
9.5 was the win.
Is it 9.5?
Yeah,
I think that's right. Yeah.
But still, if we go over 9.5, at 10-2, they're getting in. So why would you not play the plus 225? Again, there are angles here that you can play and get much more value. I think that's a lot of value, though, because Alabama, to me, is 9 or 10. And I'll play plus 225 for them to get that 10th win.
On the percentages to make the playoffs, that's 30% for Alabama and Louisville at 30%. Everybody I've said before that are higher. Just some interesting ones after that. I told you with Kansas, LSU, Notre Dame at plus 250. NC State, Texas A&M, and USC at plus 500. So you see a big jump from that to this.
And I do think USC is one of these teams you can take a flyer on this year. I mentioned this yesterday. They're 25-1 to win the Big Ten, 50-1 to get into the college football playoff. This is a very important year. And would you guys really be shocked with USC's speed if they could flip this around?
No.
And win a lot of games.
Everyone's high on Missouri. If you're looking for a value, plus 550 when this opened, bet online. Missouri,
and that's just to make the playoffs.
Just to make the playoffs. Texas Tech also 550. If you follow the history of the Big Ten and just theory of large numbers, if you think the Big Ten is going to get 4 in, Iowa at plus 700 could be some value.
We don't have divisions anymore. That kills Iowa.
No thanks.
Iowa State's plus 700. Oklahoma State left behind in the Big 12. They will at least get one team in at plus 800. Then comes the Auburn Tigers at plus 900 with Hugh Freeze. That's a 10% chance of making the playoffs.
Well, I said year 2 was going to be that year for Hugh Freeze, but with Peyton Thorne, I don't see a 10-2, but maybe.
And just of the other odds I get here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that Auburn's ahead of. Better chance of making the playoffs according to Bet Online. The first one is another SEC team. That is a name brand that's been a part of more playoffs than they've not been part of, and that's Oklahoma. Oklahoma's 10-1, plus 1,000 to make a playoffs, and Auburn's 9-1.
You know who Vegas doesn't like? Brent Venables.
Do not. We'll talk to Kalen DeBoer later on. Washington, 10-1 odds to make the playoffs.
The most shocking thing to me outside of Alabama is where Michigan is. Like, how can you have – because this really comes down to coaching. If Nick Saban was coming back with this roster, Alabama that win total would be 11.5 or 10.5. They would be in the top 3 to make a college football playoff. And now that a guy that is coached in the national championship game this past year is got worse odds than Sharon Moore and Michigan, who's losing 16 players to the NFL.
Tell us about our friends at A+, and then we'll do our 4 downs here and then talk with Greg Byrne coming up on the other side.
So A+ Tile Home Remodeling is who redid the master bathroom and the Brown house. So when we bought it, we knew we wanted to update it. We didn't like the darker color or lighter colors. We wanted darker colors. So my wife scoured the internet, find the right person for the job. She talked to people that had used certain contractors, talked to contractors themselves. She picked Brad Bell. Now, Brad at A+ Tile Home Remodeling also specializes in kitchen remodels and master bedroom closet remodels, which you're seeing on video there if you're watching us. That's one he recently did. You see my bathroom before and after on video all the time. It is just tremendous work that his crew did. I could not be happier with it. They did exactly what they told us and the time they told us they were going to do it. Clean, efficient, on time every day. Here is Brad's number. Anywhere in Alabama, he can help you. 205-422-1758. 205-422-1758. Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling.
4 Downs is brought to you by Slice. LT will tell us about Slice after 4 Downs. We always start Rockstar with our first down. Today, LT has those for us. Hit it, my man.
First down.
Now, this is going to be based on an if-win, but if and when Justin Fields gets traded, more wins in 2024, the Bears or Justin Fields?
If he gets traded, they're taking Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
So that depends on if you think Caleb Williams can be C.J. Stroud, you know? I mean, We've seen it with C.J. Stroud. I would say, I think if Fields gets traded, he probably goes to a team that is very close to a playoff team. So I think I will go Justin Fields.
If he gets traded, I think he goes to Atlanta, and I think they make the playoff.
Well, yeah, I would think Atlanta would make the playoff with the Fields, but you got to look at this too. Wonder if you go to a place, let's just throw out like L.A.
Well,
and you sit 1 year behind Stafford.
Yep.
Like, I think Fields needs to play, but that would be a possibility.
Yep. But I mean,
Kirk Cousins is up in the air too, so Minnesota's a possibility.
Yeah, I'm going to lean Fields. Though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second down.
More total wins in 2024. The Kansas City Chiefs regular season or Alabama all games?
I think the Chiefs are starting to show, as Super Bowl champions back-to-back, a little cracks in the armor. You saw that in the regular season this past year. All games, I'll take Alabama. I'll say Kansas City regular season with 10. And I'll take Alabama with north of 10.
I mean, it's just impossible to believe they could continue that machine. I'm kind of with you on that one. It's just, at some point, they're going to have an off year.
And
They've got to.
I think we saw a little bit of that this past year.
You did.
With them just realizing what they have to do to get to the playoffs. And they're at an age now, I don't think that the Mahomes and Travis Kelce and those guys can go out there and have a 12-13 win season.
You know what I think it is? I think they're bored.
Yep.
I really do.
Yeah.
When you go back and you watch them on Christmas against the Raiders, they just didn't care. And once they got to the postseason, I mean, you know.
It up.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and I don't think they can do that again.
I'm going to say Alabama, though.
I wouldn't have the Chiefs in the playoffs. I mean, in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Third down.
Luka Doncic, all of 25 today. If I asked you the better career when it's all said and done, I'll throw out Caleb Williams, sight unseen, but he does have a Heisman Trophy in his pocket. Williams or Luka?
I'll go Luka. I've already seen him on a professional level.
I don't know if Luka will ever win a championship. This may be his best Mavericks team he's ever had. So they could be good this year. They could be the Western Conference champs this year. I'm worried about Caleb Williams. Not his skill set, but the businessman he is. He's already made $10 million in NIL in marketing before he's even drafted. I'm going to go Luka.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget. And there's, Caleb Williams has already become a polarizing guy, and I guess that's what happens with greatness. But people don't realize how bad his offensive line and his defense were. I think people do realize how bad the defense was, but how bad the offensive line has been the last couple of years. So it depends on where he goes, but I am going to say Luka too because I think he's one of the top 5 right now.
Third down.
Okay, I don't know if you guys are going to recognize the name. Ali Larder is 48 years old.
Yeah.
From the OC?
No. Okay, I'll tell you the scene. I was going to ask you more impactful scene for you. We brought up Jaws with the meltdown yesterday. The Jaws, the iconic poster behind Tim Melton on that set. The scene where you first see Roy Snyder, where he's chumming, and the first time you see the shark. What's more impactful, that shark scene or Ali Larder in the whipped cream bikini in Varsity Blues?
That's why I couldn't figure out. I mean, as a child, I think you know the answer to that, right? Or as a adolescent.
Well, I think it's an iconic.
They even went cherries to boot, right?
Yep.
I don't remember that part.
With a T.
Mm-hmm.
I would say whipped cream sales went up. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'd go alley.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fourth down.
That's it. Four downs. Brought to you by our friends at Slice. Tell us about Slice.
Yeah, 4 great locations for you. The original in Lakeview, one at Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, coming soon to Homewood. Get in and see the Bajaya Brothers, local pizza, local ingredients. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
Our friends at the University of Montevallo as well. It's a wonderful Division II school. If you're looking for a place for your son or daughter to call home, think about Montevallo as well. Montevallo.edu. Montevallo.edu to schedule that in-person tour. When we come back, we'll talk to the guy who runs this place, right? Athletic Director Greg Byrne. Big night in Oxford basketball-wise. You also have football spring practice going on. Women's basketball's on a roll. Everything else going on with the University of Alabama athletics. Greg Byrne sits down in that chair next, live from the University of Alabama. This is The Next Round.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. You got to look your best to play your best, and our friends at Bandwagon can help your team find the perfect uniforms for that upcoming season. Bandwagon is with you every step of the way, from developing your team logo design to choosing from their multitude of samples. You name the sport, they can make it happen. To get your uniform journey started, you can shoot them a message on any social media platform or check out their website, bandwagonsports.com. That's bandwagonsports.com. Next round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
With you in Tuscaloosa, we're in the Mal Moore building, and the guy who is, I've been here a long time, a lot of athletic directors. Mal Moore has a great legacy here. Greg Byrne is the athletic director. He joins us on set here in Mal Moore's building. He's got the name on the building here, and I know Coach Moore meant a lot to this place, but to the job that you filled. Do you have a memory of Mal Moore?
Yeah, one of my favorite Coach Moore stories. I was 36 years old when I became the AD at Mississippi State, which, I certainly wasn't ready for it at that point. And I go to my first SEC meetings. I think we were in Phoenix, and I don't get nervous about much. I was a little nervous walking into this room full of ADs. Everybody was 20 years older than me, and I talked to Greg Sankey, who was Mike Sly's right-hand guy at the time, and I said, Greg, tell me something about Coach Moore where I could kind of break the ice with him. And he said, Coach Moore does a wonderful job in the room. Sometimes his phone will ring in the middle of the room, though. So I said, I got it. So I go up to Coach Moore, and I said, hey, Coach Moore, it's Greg Byrne. I'm new AD at Mississippi State. And he's like, oh, yeah, I know who you are, Greg. And I said, I'll make a deal with you. And he said, what's that? I said, as long as I can ask you anything I want to about being an athletic director so I can learn from you, I'll make sure your phone never rings during the SEC AD meetings, because I've heard it rings occasionally. And he laughed. He said, partner, you got yourself a deal. So Mal and I love the man. And when Regina and I had this opportunity 7 years ago now, hard to believe.
Wow.
Yeah, that we stood right here and got introduced. And it's it's been a dream, and at a place as special as what the University of Alabama is. Every single day I can tell you, try to think how can we make sure we represent this university in the manner it deserves to be represented, and following Coach Battle and Coach Moore, and Bear Bryant was the AD at one time. Coach Bryant was. So it's an honor.
Dunaway started the show by Jackson Dart. Ole Miss quarterback's got a new NIL deal with, is it Nichols Jet?
Nichols Air, yeah.
I've never heard of Nichols Air. We hadn't heard of it, but he's got a nice little NIL deal there. And there's a theory out there that there are some established coaches that are getting out of college football and they want to go to the NFL. They want to become coordinators. They don't want to deal with NIL. From an athletic director standpoint, how difficult is NIL right now?
NIL is challenging, to say the least. Listen, there's been some really good stories. Bryce Young is one that's brought up about what's taking place. Montana Fouts, where they have their market power has earned them great opportunities, partly because they're at the University of Alabama, right? And those are great, and we want to continue to make sure those opportunities are out there. The challenge right now is when states are doing their own thing, right? When things are completely unregulated and from one state to the other, and it just creates and people sometimes push back on it, but it's the God's honest truth. It is unsustainable. And we are passionate about having broad-based programming here at the University of Alabama, having the Olympic sports, supporting the Olympic movement. That's not just the University of Alabama. And it's something that we need to create a model soon. And I know people are working on it, and I've been part of some of those conversations, and Dr. Bell has been a great leader, our president, through that. Greg Sankey has as well. And we need to make sure we do everything we can to put a model together that allows intercollegiate athletics at our level to be sustainable for the long haul, because everything has regulation in some manner, and we need regulation. It's good. You don't need over regulation, but we need regulation in this, and allow the opportunities from an educational standpoint, which is really important to have that be part of the college experience.
That's right.
And then from an athletic standpoint, from a social standpoint, we do a really good job at the University of Alabama in those areas, and we want to make sure that we continue to do that, but we can't do that without support and some regulations that give us a level playing field, so everybody knows that one state's working the same as the other.
Gregg Byrne is with us, the Alabama athletics director. In the event players became actual athletic department employees, does that complicate it more? Does that clean some up?
There's certainly complications, and not just athletics; it's campus wide. And I do think the idea of college athletics, there's a lot of pressure that you want to win, you want to be at the highest levels, and there's nothing wrong with competition. That's a good thing. It's good for a young person to learn how to deal with competition. That helps develop who you are. But at the same time, too, we are there's a lot of grace in our world, right? Because I know when we were 18 years old, we all made good decisions every day, right?
Oh yeah.
And we allow young people to come in and develop who they are now. And in that environment, they're going to allow to be able to develop and grow. I mean, Coach Saban and I've talked all the time about the importance of development at this time and sustainability and making sure that they're in an environment that allows them to grow, learn from mistakes, and develop to the best of their abilities. The college years are critical for that. And so I don't think it's just as simple as saying, that make them employees. I don't think that at all. But what I do think is to create a model for college athletics that we all know what the rules are, that we all can follow those rules, and having some guardrails and what's taking place from an NIL standpoint is going to be very important for that.
And I would imagine there are across the country hundreds of boosters and friends of programs and donors to universities that also would love to see some guidelines, because they are giving generously for buildings on campus, from libraries to softball complexes. And now you're asking them also to help with this and that. At some point, they would love some guidelines, I would imagine.
Yeah, they would. I think that when you talk about it and when they see legitimate NIL opportunities for the young people out there, I think they celebrate that. I think they think this is a good thing. I also know when it's just when there are efforts to just say, hey, straight pay for play, that's not something I think that a lot of the boosters are necessarily embracing at the levels of what you sometimes hear out there publicly.
Right.
I tell the story, and there was an agent out there a few months ago that did a story that said, I've got so many $1 million offers for my clients, and people took that. I heard a person or two say, "Wow, that's unbelievable! I didn't realize that." It's like, have you ever heard of marketing?
That's right.
Yeah. Do you think that's 100% accurate?
That's right.
And because listen, and I've said this before, and it gets a little bit of coverage, but not a lot. At Alabama, what we spend on a young man or young woman who's on a full ride scholarship, not counting a dollar in salaries, okay, but we spend on academically, athletically, and socially, is up over $190,000 a year.
Per athlete.
Okay.
Per athlete.
Wow.
Yeah.
Per year.
Per
athlete per year.
Yeah. And the example I use, I count charter flights in there because there's an academic and athletic and a social benefit for that compared to riding a bus for 8 hours, right? Which you have to do at some different levels of college sports. And so our investment in our young people to develop them to their highest levels of their abilities, we take a lot of pride in that. And sometimes you'll hear, well, you shouldn't invest in facilities and all these different things. One, to have facilities, as we've heard about with an arena, is not, is really expensive to do. And so we lose track of it at the same time, all the time and energies that the people in this athletic department, our coaches, our staff, and our resources that we put into giving a great experience. I think Coach DeBoer's already seen that just across the board and how we do things here. And I know he's going to be on later. I'd ask him about that. I don't think there's a better place in the country for a young man or a young woman to come develop to the best of their abilities, and we're proud of that.
Okay, let's go back. I think it was 6 weeks yesterday. It might be 7 weeks. Everything's flying by. Nick Saban retires. Did you have a gut feeling when he's like, "Hey, Gregg, we need to talk"? when did it finally you were able to process? Oh my God, this guy is actually shutting it down.
Yeah, obviously one of the things many things that make Coach Saban as special as he was, he compartmentalizes everything, right? And the structure and the discipline of what he does as a coach and as a person is as good as I've ever seen. So I will tell you, without trying to go into all the details, I couldn't have asked for better communication from him. And he was really thoughtful. But he wasn't ready to talk about it till he was ready to talk about it, which we never wanted to talk about it, but we knew at some point that would come. And so, and I being totally transparent about it, till I heard the words come out of his mouth in front of the team, there was a part of me that wondered, man, is this really going to happen? But from his communication between the two of us, I couldn't have asked for better communication.
I keep waiting for him to walk through the door, though. Right now.
Right there.
So 17 years, you get used to certain things happening. Yeah.
Not always tearing up right now. I don't know if you notice this.
He would say, "Why are you guys on my stage? What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
But you got his Dasani bottle, so you're doing
That's right.
Why in my building?
That's right.
Hey, I'm one of those guys. I can't live in the moment though, and that's one of my many faults. But if I got told that, I would immediately, and I know you got to respect the greatest to ever do it, but I would immediately be thinking, well, where's my next move? How quick did Kalen pop in your head?
Well, and I told Coach this. We wanted to do nothing that ever made him think for a single second that we were doing anything but totally supporting him as our head coach. That was the foundation. That's what we were doing. But at the same time too, and I said to him, it would be irresponsible on my part if we weren't prepared for when this time came. And he said, absolutely. He agreed with that. So when we started talking more seriously about it, I talked to him about where I think we had to be from a process standpoint, which he appreciates the process, right?
Right.
And in today's world, with the transfer portal, with NIL, with just the realities of what we're facing. And so he, I told him, I said, listen, we've been researching coaches for a few years and hoping we'd never have to act on it, but at some point we would. So Kalen DeBoer's name was one that was on there right off the bat when we talked about it. And I did talk to him through the process. He was very helpful. He was very thoughtful, like he always is about anything, because he genuinely, and he and Miss Terry both genuinely care about the University of Alabama, and they want to see us continue to have success based off of the foundation that was built over the last 17 years, on top of the foundation in the past as well. And so, so when we talked about Coach DeBoer, and he was very positive about him, and didn't didn't know him well at all, but was certainly impressed with the job that he had done wherever he had been.
Next vacation for you. Where are you going? You got one planned yet? Clearly, with coaching change and everything going on, you got to have some downtime coming up.
July. That's
July.
the time. Yeah. And Regina and I actually did go away for 2 days the weekend of the Texas A&M men's basketball.
We call those weekends, but
it's a long weekend.
Yeah, spring's the busiest time of year for it.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So because baseball, a lot of events, softball, a lot of events, tennis, a lot of events, basketballs are still going. And I just talked to Rob Vaughn, our baseball coach, this morning, and we won yesterday in Birmingham, but it was a close game. And I said, hey, you're not going to see me a whole lot because of basketball over the next month, but once we get through March and the first couple of weeks of April, I'll be here out of the ballpark.
Are you obliged to send a text or make a call to every coach that has a win?
Well, you want to make sure you do it when they lose too.
Okay,
you do.
Right, yeah. So every day you're in contact with at least one quick text. Hey, great job.
I probably don't bat 1,000 on getting to every coach every game, but I make sure they know we're watching, that we're supporting, that we care about what they do. And then when July comes, Regina and I have discovered going up to the mountains of North Carolina and just absolutely love it up there. So we'll get there this July. But literally a couple of summers ago, I went to Europe during the summer. I came back because I did at the very end of July. I came back exhausted, and so then I had to start the year exhausted. So it's really important that we do.
Well, you know what you need? You need a quarterback that's got a jet deal.
Yeah. So Nichols there did a deal.
Nichols there, that's right. Yeah.
Wow.
Greg's gears returning. I can tell.
And your wife's going to go full circle with you. As soon as you walk into that cabin, she's going to go, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a deal with you. I'm going to make it so your cell phone doesn't ring during this whole trip.
I'm all for that. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
a good thing. And in fact, I do put it back in another part of the house so I don't hear it and just take your cell phone off of it, right?
Hey, can we note the fact that we went an entire interview with you without asking about a new arena?
I'm the only one that brought it up, right?
I know. I think that's the first for us. Yeah. So no new arena questions.
We're still.
Do you want to announce something?
No, but I will tell you, our fundraising staff continues to do a really good job. I know. Sometimes people think that $100 million is, that's pocket change.
Well, that's what Lance says.
Well, we want to know what naming rights would cost us.
Well, I tell you, let's talk about it. We could get it done for $60 million.
Yeah, $60 million. I mean, it's already a circle. It's perfect.
That's
right at midcourt.
We'll put it up on the roof.
Can we put it on a credit card?
Sure, checks in the mail.
You see who handles the credit card. Alabama Athletic Director Gregg Byrne will continue our conversations with all the folks, including new offensive coordinator Nick Sheridan, who's up next with us as we're live on campus in Tuscaloosa right here on the Next Round.
Never miss anything Auburn. Watch Village Vice at Wardam Pods on YouTube and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Let me introduce you to the new line of Red Wing athletic work shoes. This great new line is perfect for the industrial athlete, the guy who is working on concrete or running through the warehouse all day long. Red Wing Athletics use the same technology found in a running shoe, with soft mesh uppers, a lightweight aluminum toe for protection, and non-slip soles. This shoe is a winner. This comfortable new line of safety shoes are perfect for warehousing and light manufacturing. Plus, the colors look great. Stop by your local Red Wing shoe store, have your feet measured, and test drive a new pair of Red Wing athletic work shoes.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Visit nextroundlive.com today. It's free, unless you haven't paid your internet bill. So go ahead and pay that, and then it's free. Heck, you can pull out your phone and go to nextroundlive.com right now, where you'll find all the free content that you can stomach. Unless you haven't paid your phone bill, then you need to pay that, and then you can enjoy all the free content. Nextroundlive.com is so rewarding that it should be behind a paywall, like Lance's Lock. So in summary, play Lance's Lock. Then you'll have enough money to pay your bills, and go to nextroundlive.com, where you're always at your happiest, for free.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Did you know that colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in America and that it affects men and women equally?
If you're older than 45, Rump Shaker encourages you to talk to your doctor about screening options that are available. Colon cancer is preventable, treatable, and beatable, but early detection is the key. For more information, please visit us. Go to rumpshakerinc.org. Also, 6th Annual Rump Shaker 5K coming up Saturday, March 23rd at Regents Field. You can register online, rumpshakerinc.org.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Did you know that colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in America and that it affects men and women equally? If you're older than 45, Rump Shaker encourages you to talk to your doctor about screening options that are available. Colon cancer is preventable, treatable, and beatable, but early detection is the key. For more information, please visit us. Go to rumpshakerinc.org. Also, 6th Annual Rump Shaker 5K coming up Saturday, March 23rd at Regents Field. You can register online, rumpshakerinc.org.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
We're live in Tuscaloosa as we get rolling with hour number 2. We're about to talk to Nick Sheridan, the new Alabama offensive coordinator. Spring practice starts coming up on a Monday. But first, let me tell you about the folks at Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Pickleball, playing basketball in the driveway with the kids or whatever. You tweak an elbow, a shoulder, or a knee, they'll get you back in the game, get you back ready for work. All you have to do is go to this website, precisionsportsortho.com/2024. precisionsportsortho.com/2024 or call the number on your screen, 205-512-3885. Precision Sports and Orthopedics, orthopedic care better together.
All right, Alabama offensive coordinator, Coach Nick Sheridan with us now. Welcome in, Coach. How are you?
Doing great. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. We were just talking in the break about your transition here. I know your family's still trying to get down here, but what has the first month or so been like in Tuscaloosa for you? Probably nonstop.
It's been great. Honestly, it's been great. Very busy, as you guys can imagine, but and have enjoyed every minute of it. You know, getting to know the players, building relationships with them, you know, the staff, putting that together with Coach DeBoer. It's just been a lot of fun. You know, a lot of work, a lot of early mornings and late nights, but this is we love to coach. This is what we love to do, so we've enjoyed it.
Before we went on, you were kind of talking about your dad, Bill Sheridan, who's been coaching 40-plus years, 4 different stops in the NFL. I know, not to put it in perspective. But when you were born, I think he was coaching the Maine Black Bears. Were you born in Maine?
What
sure research, huh?
Yeah, sure was. That's about as much as I could tell you about the state of Maine. We moved, I think, before I was 2 years old, but my wife and I went back there a couple summers ago, so had, you know, nice lobster, and we enjoyed the drive up that way. So, but my dad's been coaching for a long time, and he's been very, lucky and fortunate to have had a great career and coached a lot of really good players, been a part of some great staff, some championship teams, and so, you know, I've grown up in it, you know, from the beginning.
If I remember his resume, I think we established in the break, Bucks fan, he coached for the Bucks. Dolphins fan, he coached for the Dolphins. We have a Giants fan out there. He coached for the Giants. So how do you have a pro team? And you worked in Seattle for a while there.
Yeah.
So
I think, in coaching, you root for people.
Okay.
You know, I'm from Michigan, so certainly, you know, always want the Lions and the Pistons and the Tigers to do well. But, the longer you're in it, you just, you know, of people, former players, guys that you worked with in the past. And so, you're rooting for people more than anything, especially at the professional level. So, that's probably, you know, because I've worn a lot of different T-shirts and hats as a kid. You know, rooting for my dad. So I think the longer you're in it, the more you just try to root for people.
You know, I saw your face when he mentioned your dad's been doing it for 40 years, and I'm seeing this more and more when I talk to coaches. Can you right now, and I know it's a bad time to ask you, in the transition with everything going on, but can you see yourself doing this 30 and 35 years from now? You love it that much?
I do, yeah.
You'll be an old coach someday?
Well, hopefully we stay young, you know, but, I've grown up in football. I know is to be a part of a team, you know, and I think that's what, when you think about why you coach is you enjoy being a part of a group of people trying to accomplish something. And so, that's what happens for coaches is you're a part of it for so long and you can't imagine not being on a team. And so, I love the relationships. I love the competition. I love everything about it. There's nothing about what we do that I don't enjoy. And so to sit there and think about not doing that, I don't see that. It's certainly not in the near future. So, but we'll see what my wife has to say about that, as we get a little bit older, my kids get older, but, we're loving every minute of it and thankful to be a coach. I'm proud to be a coach. I think it matters. I think what coaches do matter at all levels. And I think we impact young people at a high level and I think it's important. I think it's important for our communities and our country. And so I take that very seriously and I'm thankful I get to do it.
It seems like you've always been kind of an underdog. And just stick with me here from, Indiana to Washington, not huge expectations. You walked on at Michigan. You ultimately won a starting job there. But now you're not an underdog anymore. How different is that role?
Well, I think you just focus on the process of what you need to do to win. And I don't think those things change. I think you always still have the chip on your shoulder. You always feel like you have something to prove. And so that's I enjoy that piece of it. But we really don't look at favorite we just look on, doing the work and focusing on that. And I think, Coach DeBoer says this often, but, winners win because that's what winners do. And so we focus on what winners do. What does that look like on a day-to-day process? And that's really what, for the players, for the staff, for everybody here, that's really what we focus on is the things that winners do on a day-to-day basis. And you trust in on that and you lean in on that. And then, the results will take care of themselves.
Nick Sheridan is with us, the Alabama offensive coordinator. When you have watched the team you're inheriting here on film, what jumps out at you based on what you like to do offensively?
Well, I think, there's explosiveness on the offensive side of the ball. I think there's some really dynamic, playmakers at different positions. I think there's some, really quality interior offensive line play that has occurred here, some guys that are returning. And I think there's some really good young O-linemen on the edges as well. And so we're excited about, the group. We're learning about them each and every day. I know that'll be a process throughout spring practice is to try to identify what the group does well. And you couple it with the quarterbacks that are very talented, very skilled, different, each one of them. But we're really excited and encouraged about the guys that are here.
Yeah.
And their attitude has been fantastic. They want to win. They care about winning. They want to be their very best. And there's obviously a shared goal, in that and where we're trying to accomplish and where we're trying to go.
When you step into a job like this, though, do you look at it and say, okay, Jalen Milroe was the starter for a reason? Or is the fair thing to do just say, I got to ignore all that and I've got to make my evaluation?
No, I think past performance is always a great predictor of future performance. And so, we don't discredit the accomplishments of any of the players that have been here. Certainly we're going to, implement our schemes and our systems. But also what I would tell you that Coach DeBoer has done so well for so many years is adapt to what that group does, and so we have enough offense to cater to the skills and the strengths of the players. And that certainly centers around the quarterback, but also the offensive line and the skill players. And so, we're not at different stops along Coach DeBoer's journey, the offense has changed and adapted to who they've had. And so we're excited about learning what that is with the guys. That's what spring practice is for, and trying to adjust as we get closer to the season.
Speaking of learning, how hard is it when you go into a place that it's a new offense? So you're trying to teach a new language to all these guys who are here. How does that process start? What's the first thing you do? Okay, guys, we're doing something totally different. What's the first thing you do?
Well, I think. I think there needs to be a level of trust that you establish with the players, a direct line of communication. And so that they feel like they can trust you and that you can teach them better, and so I think that's really what coaching is all about, is developing relationships with the players so that they can trust you and pour it all out there for you, and so, the first thing that we had to do was get together as a staff, and make sure that we were all together and pulling in the same direction and we saw it the same way. And so there's obviously carryover, with Coach Shepard, Coach DeBoer. We've obviously have worked together in the past. Coach Gillespie and me, we worked together at Tennessee for 3 years. So there's familiarity with things that we've done in the past. But then you have 2 new staff members and Coach Cap and Coach Ellis. And so, we're getting together each and every day. That's been a large majority of the time, so that when we get with the players, that we're all on the same page on how we're going to do things, whether it's blocking schemes or route concepts or pass protection or whatever it may be. And so that's an ongoing process, because there's been some changes here in the last month, so but we don't feel behind. We don't feel like we're catching up. We're just right where we're supposed to be, and we're just taking it one day at a time.
Back to Jalen Milroe. Your fingerprints have been on a couple of recent quarterbacks, and Joshua Dobbs, back to your days in Knoxville, a guy that started a handful of games this year for Minnesota. Michael Penix Jr. just played for a national championship with you guys, a guy that should start some games coming up. When you look at Jalen Milroe, do you see that upside that you see with Dobbs and you see with Penix Jr.?
No, absolutely. I think he's an extremely talented and hardworking person. I think everybody knows about the explosiveness as a runner, but I also think he's extremely explosive as a passer too. He's got a very strong arm, and he's playing the first time last year with the large majority of the snaps. Right? He's still, I know people don't like to use the word develop anymore, but that's part of a journey of a quarterback, is the experiences that you go through help you as you move forward in your career. And so he's an extremely talented player. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And he's got a great attitude and a work ethic that's really unmatched. So I've really enjoyed that time that I've spent with him, as I have with the other quarterbacks in the room. It's just a really quality room with great people. I think that's what always lends itself to really good play. Is it starts with who the person is, and it's a room full of really great kids that come from great families that are very talented.
Nick Sheridan, for a few more moments, the Alabama offensive coordinator. Any offensive coordinator I've talked to, obviously coaching is a 24/7 job, but the daily calling of the plays in the game is what they just love. Yep. And I mean, can you just explain to me the adrenaline that goes through your body when you've been at Tennessee, what a big SEC game is like. Washington, you guys played huge games. When you're calling plays in an environment like that,
it's hard to explain, because it's so much work that's all coming together in a singular moment. It's unlike anything else, when you call the right play at the right time and the players are able to execute. I think what you enjoy the most about coaching and calling plays is to see the success that the players have, the joy that when they execute the right play at the right time, what that does for them and the moments and the memories that they're able to create. That's why we do it, and that's what we love the most about it.
Do you find yourself, like I do in Madden, always wanting to throw 4 deep, go
4 verts? That's the best
we do
play.
have that in our offense. We don't look at it quite like playing Madden in real life. A little bit different.
I was half joking.
If you go back and have Devontae and Jalen Waddle and Henry Ruggs,
4 verts every play,
Jerry Jeudy, that would make sense.
Well, those kids are super talented, and I know we feel great about the kids in our building right now too, and they're working towards creating their own legacy and writing the history for themselves. So, but there's no circle button up in the play box, in the press box, so it doesn't work quite like that. There's not a 3-box picture that you're picking one of them, and that's not how it works. So it happens a little quick.
I bet that happens in your head a little bit, though. You have things flashing in front of you.
Yeah, I mean,
mentally
a little bit. Yeah, like I said, it's not like playing Madden.
We oversimplify,
but I'm sure a lot of people think it's just like that.
You'll learn very early on that we are not X's and O guys.
That's all good.
Don't let my shoes fool you. I'm not a ball guy. Yeah.
Hey, so when I walked into the trophy room, one thing about Nick Saban is there were so many players. There was not one player that kind of defined the program. And when you were at Michigan, Tom Brady, when you were playing, was in the middle of winning Super Bowls early in his career. I would assume that was one of the guys. There was like a buzz throughout, that organization, throughout the facility. Did he ever come by, say, "Hey, did you have any relationship with him?"
No, I wouldn't say that. Tom obviously has had an unbelievable career, and I know he cares a lot about his alma mater, and but he was right in the middle of it, at that time, and so it was just a different time. I wouldn't say. I know he's since gone back to Ann Arbor several times, but he stayed pretty busy for about the better part of 20 years. So there wasn't many summer vacations back in Ann Arbor during that time. But I think, like I mentioned before, what's so special about places like Alabama is the people. The people that have come through this building, both coaches and players. And so, I feel super fortunate to be a part of it. And, to add to it. I think when you come to a place like this, you recognize the magnitude. You recognize the history, the tradition, all the hard work and sacrifice that has helped build a place like Alabama to be what it is. And, nobody deserves more credit than the players. You mentioned some of the great players that have come here during Coach Saban's time, and there was great players before that, and so to be a part of that is humbling. And I know, myself and the rest of the staff feels very lucky, to be here.
Outside of Bill Sheridan, biggest impact on you as a college coach or a football coach?
Well, gosh, that's a great question. I think, I'll mention one person here just because you asked, but I also would I've been very lucky and thankful to have been around some great coaches at all levels. I had great high school coaches, both football and baseball. Mike Glennie and Scott Tyson were fantastic. I was, I grew up in the house of a coach. And so the coaches that my dad worked with, to be able to see that. But Lloyd Carr was somebody that was, has just been very impactful for not just me, but my family. My dad was a GA for him as a position coach, and kind of got him into college coaching. And then for me to have an opportunity to play for him for my first 2 years of college, Coach knows how much he means to me. And meant that way for a lot of players that, played for him. I think, the former players here at Alabama would feel the same way about a Coach Saban or a Coach Stallings. You're just in such a formative time of your life, 18, 19, 20 years old. And just the way that he protected the players, I always thought that publicly he defended the players. I always thought he had their back. Doesn't mean you weren't held accountable or addressed, in a team or a position meeting if you weren't doing what you were supposed to do. But I think the one thing we always felt with Coach Carr is that he always had our back and he always wanted us to be our best. And I'm forever grateful to him because, as a young person, he was certainly somebody that I looked up to.
Did that make you tougher as a kid, though, jumping around different places with your dad? Like, I've met military kids growing up, and they seem to be tougher because they can drop those relationships within a couple of days and move on to the next town. Like, I was too selfish. I couldn't have done that.
Well, I think, you're a little bit more accustomed to change, to adapting to different, situations. And I've enjoyed the stops. I've enjoyed the journey. I've enjoyed the people. To be at different places and live in different parts of the country and experience different cultures. I've really enjoyed that. I know a lot is made about being the son of a coach or a coach's family and how that can be difficult. I got to play catch in the Coliseum at a Rose Bowl practice. I got to walk on the field and see confetti come down at a Super Bowl, because my dad was a part of a Super Bowl winning team. And so I enjoyed every second of being a coach's kid. And I thought what my dad did was awesome. The kids that I looked up to, the players that I looked up to that were my heroes as a young person, my dad got to yell at them and tell them, hustle through the line or whatever it may be. And so I've enjoyed every stop. I've enjoyed the different people. I just enjoyed the entire part of my journey being a coach's kid, and my dad's my hero. I have a wonderful relationship with both my parents, and I couldn't have asked for a better childhood growing up.
Yeah. Finally got to a place with good barbecue. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. Welcome to the South.
Yeah.
Nick Sheridan, the guy who's in charge of the offense now and making sure those confetti feelings continue here in Tuscaloosa. Thanks for being with us. He's the offensive coordinator. We'll talk later to Kane Wommack. I saw these guys interact on signing day. Man, you guys, the continuity and the way you guys cut up and the personalities, y'all seem to have a good blend.
Yeah, Kane's one of my closest friends. Our wives are very close. They're good friends as well. And we've had a lot of shared experiences and on our journey. So we've stayed close even when we were on different staffs. And, I think that's what makes this opportunity so special is, to coach at a place like Alabama in general is a once in a lifetime opportunity, but to do it with the people, with Coach DeBoer and Coach Wommack, the rest of the staff, Coach Shep, on and on. I could name every single guy on the staff. Just the connections and relationships that we're able to build or have already built in the past is super special. And so, we're very lucky and very humble to be here.
We appreciate your time. That's Nick Sheridan. We're back to Tuscaloosa in a moment, right here on The Next Round.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Tournament time is almost here, but any time is a great time to jump on with MyBookie.ag. When you sign up at MyBookie.ag, use code NEXTROUND for a special sign-on bonus. You can use that bonus right away. Win once with it, it is yours and yours forever. Not like some of the sites that make you win 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times before you keep the bonus. You win once at MyBookie.ag, it is yours forever. Basketball tournaments, NBA, the start of Major League Baseball, NASCAR, and golf. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459 exit 31 Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Sports fans, Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today. Tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. It's paid for by the Sports Betting Alliance. Again, sportsbettingalliance.org. Did you know that colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in America and that it affects men and women equally? If you're older than 45, Rump Shaker encourages you to talk to your doctor about screening options that are available. Colon cancer is preventable, treatable, and beatable, but early detection is the key. For more information, please visit us. Go to rumpshakerinc.org. Also, 6th Annual Rump Shaker 5K coming up Saturday, March 23rd at Regents Field. You can register online, rumpshakerinc.org.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
Hang out with the next round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the next round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Hey, we're back with you in Tuscaloosa. We're live today inside the Malmore Athletic Facility, the football complex here at the University of Alabama. And just so it doesn't get away from us, we'd like to thank everyone associated with Alabama that's allowing us this inside access today to be broadcasting from inside their building, inside their walls. Not always easy to let the folks like us on the inside to do this. So a big thank you. Maybe we'll do it again at the end of the show, but I at least wanted to get that out there. And I know the whole staff that's here with us appreciates the hospitality so far today. We'll talk to Kane Wommack, the defensive coordinator, coming up in the next segment. He's actually one of the guys on the coaching staff who actually knows who we are because he's been on our show several times. And Brown's been to his office back in his days in Mobile at South Alabama. So we'll talk to Kane coming up. Show being brought to you in part by our friends at the Sports Betting Alliance. It's a big time in the state of Alabama.
Well, Jimmy America, you believe in our right to vote, right?
I believe in our freedom to do anything as long as we're not harming other people.
Yeah, and this is what's crazy. So just reading verbatim from these copy points, the Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery.
I thought we decided that in 1776.
And sports betting. That's what I'm saying. You should have the right. And look, if you're against us, you're against it. But we should at least have the right for this thing to go to a vote, and we'll figure out if we're getting lottery, casino, sports betting. We're taking our money to other states. Let's vote yes on House Bill 151. It allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Did you realize Alabama, one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? Call your state senator today. Tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. 334-261-0800. 334-261-0800. You can also go online to learn more about this group, sportsbettingalliance.org, paid for by the Sports Betting Alliance.
We're going to have to throw Rockstar in the harbor if we don't get to vote.
That's right. He'll be our tea party there.
Yeah.
Okay, LT has got a thought back on the Bet Online odds that has Alabama way down the line on just to make the college football playoffs. We'll get to that in Kane Wommack in just a second. I did want to bring up something that another SEC coach said this week, yesterday, in fact, as LSU gets ready to take the field next week. Brian Kelly was asked about Harold Perkins. They've reworked the whole defensive coaching staff.
That's right.
In Baton Rouge. I think part of it was because they misplaced Harold Perkins. But Brian Kelly lets it out that the plan for Harold Perkins is for him to stay inside.
Yeah.
Stay as the inside linebacker in the schemes to help with run fit and all that.
Super weird to me, man, because it did not seem like it worked last year. Did you guys watch LSU's defense last year?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
Other than USC football and Alabama basketball is one of the worst defenses.
I mean, I think I'd reset everything, Lance, with that defense.
Here's the only thing I would say. We have seen, as good as Harold Perkins is and as much upside as he's got, we've seen better players transfer out. So if Harold Perkins wasn't excited, he had to evaluate this and what is going to be better for him at the next level. I agree. It makes no sense because he seems like a guy that is unblockable on the edge. But there's no way Harold Perkins is going to be uncomfortable in back-to-back years. So for whatever reason, it kind of struck a chord with him that, okay, this will work.
I just feel like if I'm LSU, I would Control-Alt-Delete that entire defense, Dunaway, and start. It was so bad last year. Just start from scratch. I mean, you're already starting from scratch with the coordinator.
That's right. Blake Baker's there. His reputation is
really good.
Blitz, Bama, blitz. I'll go Willie on you. Blitz, Bama, blitz. That's his reputation, right? That's his reputation. He likes to blitz coming from Missouri. He's now at LSU. So to me, Harold Perkins is a great guy coming off the edge, but they're going to put him at inside linebacker and then move him around a bit.
And I would think he's one of those guys, like, we'll give you, he's worth a high six-figure NIL deal.
Right.
We will give you this, and you can play on the outside. That's where we want you to play. So I guarantee you these conversations were had. For whatever reason, he's very comfortable there. Maybe this is going to help me really round out my game for the next level. Maybe he's got a girl he's in love with in Baton Rouge. I don't know. But there's a reason that he stayed.
That he stayed in LSU and at the inside linebacker position.
Right.
So he's not unhappy.
Do you give a piss about it?
I think Taylor knows I don't. At Next Round Live, like and subscribe if you're new with us today and watching Alabama football coverage from Tuscaloosa and you're new to the show today. Thank you for being with us. Hit that subscribe button, but also a thumbs up button. That helps us out tremendously. The show being brought to you in part as well by our friends at Rump Shaker. And again, we'll give you these ads here in this segment so we can go commercial free with the coaches. Kalen DeBoer coming up with us at 11:30 Central, part of the last hour of the show.
Yeah, did you know that colon cancer, the second leading cause of cancer deaths in America, it affects men and women equally? If you're 45 or older, Rump Shaker encourages you to talk to your doctor about screening options that are available. Colon cancer is preventable. It's treatable, it's beatable, but early detection is the key. For more information, go online, rumpshakerinc.org. And also, don't forget the 16th annual Rump Shaker 5K is coming up Saturday, March 23rd at Regents Field. For more information, to get registered, rumpshakerinc.org.
I learned a long time ago that betting odds from Las Vegas really don't tell you what's going to happen necessarily in the upcoming season or in a weekend of games or anything. But in the first or second segment of the show today, we were talking about BetOnline's early odds just to make the 12-team college football playoff. And Alabama was at plus 225, a 30% chance to make the playoffs. And I had that fifth in the SEC behind Georgia at minus 900, at Texas minus 500, after Ole Miss at plus 175, and after Tennessee at plus 200. The one that jumps out to everybody is going to be behind Tennessee.
That was the one that was stunning to me. Yeah.
You had another thought about that.
Well, here's my thought. I mean, there was a day when we had the 14 playoff way long time ago. And I remember Alabama being like minus 200 to get to a college football playoff when you had 4 teams. Now they're plus odds, plus 225 to get to a 12-team playoff. I never would have imagined a day, and I'll say this about Clemson too, especially in the ACC, where we would have expanded to 12 and Dabo in his so-called prime would miss a college football playoff. I never really thought we would see a day where, like, again, if Nick Saban is still the coach with what is returning to Tuscaloosa, they're one of your 3 or 4 favorites to not get to a college football playoff, but to win a national championship. So,
public perception.
It's crazy, though. Like, how do you not give DeBoer more credit? This is a guy that just won 24 games in 2 years at Washington and played for the national championship.
I really think it's the way the portal was played in the media. And I'm not saying that some good players did not leave, but there's only one player that left that I thought was a blow to Alabama, and that's the safety.
Yeah, Caleb Downs.
Yeah, Caleb Downs. Other than that, there are other receivers that are either coming in or that are already here that we can replace a receiver that went to Texas, right? There are other linemen that can replace a lineman that went here or a player that went there. That's the only one that I think is hard to replace. That's coming in. You've got a lot of talent that's still here, but that wasn't the way it was portrayed in the coverage of the aftermath of Nick Saban. It was portrayed coast to coast that it was a mass exodus and that there isn't as much talent left here, and that's just not factual.
Okay, but I would go back, and I see what you're saying, and you've got a point there, but I would also go back to Michigan. How much are they losing? And they have got a coach that is never, well, you can say he was an interim coach, but now he knows he is the guy, and he's got to be able to handle this.
It's public perception.
Day to day.
There's no way I think Michigan is.
But how is that? How's the public
in the playoffs? I don't think they make the playoffs.
No, I don't either. But how's the public perception better with Michigan than Washington?
Yeah.
Or excuse me,
Alabama. Yeah, I would agree.
Because it wasn't portrayed that everybody was leaving, that everybody was walking out the door at Michigan.
Yeah, but it's well known that 16 guys are in Indianapolis this
18
week.
of them. Or
18
are at the combine.
I would also say, though, the whole deal with Tennessee, Chris Lowe, who we all respect Chris immensely, said he can't remember a player since Peyton Manning that has come in with more expectations on their shoulders than Nico. And, I mean, that would show that right there. I mean, I watched. I didn't get to watch that whole bowl game. I will admit it. He looked good in that bowl game. That's a bowl game against Iowa, who obviously has a very good defense.
He's going to be great in Heupel's system. He is.
I think he'll be very good.
Makes quarterbacks really good. But that's what's mind blowing about this Joe Milton. That we still think Joe Milton could be a NFL starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Speaking of Indianapolis.
Yeah, but I mean that's a ton of pressure on him. There's no doubt that he's got an immense amount of pressure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chris Lowe said the most since Peyton Manning.
It's Oklahoma. That's the one I'm most amazed about, that as they transition to the SEC, of where the public perception is on where Oklahoma stacks up into this league. Because before Brent Venables was there, this was a perennial playoff team. Now, we always questioned their defense, whether they could win a playoff game after they got there. But now we're feeding them into the SEC, where we're treating them like they're Mississippi State. No offense to Mississippi State.
Outside of Kalen DeBoer at Washington, who played for a national championship, I thought your best second-year coach at a major program was Brent Venables. He went from 6-7, and people said, man, this job is just too big for him. Like, what's happened here? And he flips it around. Not only does he win double-digit games, he also beats Texas, a team that actually went to the college football playoff. So Brent Venables, people just, I don't know. They just don't have a lot of confidence in him. And I guess a lot depends on how good Jackson Arnold is. I would assume he's going to be really good based on the fact that Dylan Gabriel left there.
I do think Jeff Lebby's an interesting loss for them, though.
Yeah.
Taking the Mississippi State job, that offense was not their problem.
No, but Oklahoma's always had great offense coordinators.
They have.
I mean, going back to the Mike Leach days.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley was obviously the offensive
Wilson. I mean, all those guys really good offense coordinators.
And the schedule becomes very important in this conversation, right?
There was no doubt.
Alabama's schedule is very difficult.
Yep.
Oklahoma's schedule is maybe even more difficult because Oklahoma and Alabama play each other late out there, and then after Alabama plays Oklahoma goes on the road to LSU to end the season. Oklahoma's schedule is tremendously tough, so that factors into it.
I mean, their road games are at LSU, at Ole Miss, at Missouri. I mean, those are all college football playoff contenders. And then, of course, they play the neutral site game with Texas. They host Alabama. I mean, they're at Auburn. They host Tennessee. I mean, their schedule is full of teams that you've just read right there.
Yeah.
I mean, they did not get a break in their first SEC schedule.
So that's how, the perception is there. All right, we'll continue the conversation of college football, but we started with a little basketball. It's a big night in basketball. We'll get back to that basketball conversation right after Brownie tells us about our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. If you want to play the game, you can jump in and do that.
You can. Code next round when you sign on there. Get that sign-on bonus. So you can use it once, win with it once. It is yours and yours forever. They've got great all the games there. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. Code next round again to get that sign-on bonus at mybookie.ag. And you can play anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code next round. That is MyBookie.ag, code next round.
Hey, by the way, did you see the scene last night in Lubbock as we speak of Texas and them coming to the SEC? Last time Texas and Texas Tech will play each other regularly, maybe ever. And they were in Lubbock last night, and it was getting away from Texas Tech, and there was what ended up being a flagrant 2 foul from the Texas player, Brock Cunningham. Basically checked the guy into the seats. And then here comes the water bottles and the trash under the court. And they end up getting a technical also called on Texas Tech fans.
The old administrative technical, which you don't see a lot of those. But look, the game was still in doubt. Just a bad look from the Lubbock fans. I know they hate Texas.
We talked about Wes Flanagan not getting the personal.
Alan Flanagan.
Excuse me, Alan Flanagan. Well, Wes didn't either. Not getting the suspension. Do you think the same will hold true for the Texas player with them leaving the league? You think the Big 12 will look at that a little bit differently?
I don't know. It was a flagrant
2. I mean, it could carry a suspension.
Yeah. It was a physical check.
It was a very physical check,
but it wasn't. I mean, the Flanagan one still is.
No. It was not as. It was not as
to the face.
No. It was not as severe as his. But I'm just saying, if you're considering suspension, and this is a team leaving the league, I don't know that they get the benefit of the doubt. And it is magnified by what it led to your point. It led to a very ugly scene, which only magnifies it.
Yeah, and then they continued to throw some bottles at the bench area and of the Texas players to where the Texas coach said afterwards, now remember, here's the guy that's also offended by horns down.
He's soft.
Shouldn't be offended by anything.
Jarman soft.
Texas should be offended they're sending him a paycheck.
Bubble team and Rodney Terry there. Yeah. Okay, Bama tonight in Oxford. Latrell Wrightsell, does anybody know if he's in tonight, if he's playing?
I think he's going to play based on this number, and I said it wouldn't affect the number this past weekend, so I'm contradicting myself, but I think Wrightsell will play. More interesting, back to Alan Flanagan. If he's not playing, your second leading scorer, your leading rebounder, I don't think Ole Miss really has a shot against Alabama. And this is one of those, I agree with Brown. I think 2 things. I think you will get Alabama's best defensive effort.
Right.
But at the same time, I think you're going to get one of Ole Miss's best efforts tonight.
Yeah, you should. I mean, they're playing for their tournament life. Alabama is just playing they're playing for a lot. Conference championship, obviously, is very much on the line. But my whole point with the defensive effort is just showing who you really are.
For those asking in the chat room, our conversation with Nick Sheridan will be available. Everything we do here is available forever. So on our YouTube channel at Next Round Live, like and subscribe, thumbs up, audio platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Nick Sheridan will be available there forever later on today, wherever you get your podcasts, video and audio-wise, here with the Next Round. All right, when we come back, we'll talk to Kane Wommack, defensive coordinator for Alabama. Later, Kalen DeBoer joins the show at 11:30 Central Time in the final hour as we continue to talk Alabama football today from the complex over here in Tuscaloosa. The show being brought to you in part by our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. If you're looking for a way to jumpstart your weight loss, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today who is about to start training, get in the best shape of his life. If you need to knock off a few pounds, Way to Wellness can help you with that. Some protein bars throughout the day. It'll work for you. Just go to aplanforme.com. It's your journey to healthy living. Maybe you want to control your blood pressure or cholesterol numbers. You can do that as well. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Again, that website, aplanforme.com. We're back in a moment in Tuscaloosa.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
Legacy Credit Union has the ultimate game changer for your finances. With Engaged Checking, you can earn 3% APY on balances up to $15,000. You heard correctly, 3% APY. But it's not just about scoring with high yields. With Engaged Checking, you can get paid up to 2 days early. That means your paycheck, Social Security, tax refund, you name it, you get it early. So stop sitting on the sidelines and get in the game with Engaged Checking. Sign up today at legacycreditunion.com or visit any 9 Greater Birmingham area branches. APY is annual percentage yield. Terms and conditions may apply. See credit union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Sports fans, Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today. Tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. It's paid for by the Sports Betting Alliance. Again, sportsbettingalliance.org.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention The Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Hey, back live to Tuscaloosa show being brought to you today in part by our friends at Gutter Cap. Tell us about Gutter Cap.
Yeah, our friend Chris Stewart has been doing this a long time. Basketball has its madness in March, but homeowners who clean their gutters have it all year long. Eliminate your gutter cleaning madness forever with Gutter Cap. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau for more than 2 decades and on the board of directors. Gutter Cap patent aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters, eliminates that dangerous job of getting on a ladder, cleaning out your gutters. 45% off the retail price right now for March Madness. 205-823-2212 or guttercapbirmingham.com. Cap it, don't snap it. Gutter Cap.
Kane Wommack with us in just a second, and Kalen DeBoer with us coming up at 11:30 Central Time. Other coaching news around the country. Our staff here telling me Kansas has just extended and given a raise to Lance Leipold for the Jayhawks. He's done a wonderful job with them.
You know, I think it was Tom Lugan, Bill, and I think Brock Heward echoed this. One of the top 5 most difficult guys to prepare for their offense is Leipold. And he's done an incredible job there. And I was asking you this break. I think you were in the middle of something. But Kansas's odds to get to a college football playoff are right there with Bama, aren't they?
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
He's that it's that close there. But he's done a wonderful job. $7 million plus per year is what Lance is going to get there to coach the Kansas Jayhawks. Not in basketball, but in football.
Different world, man.
It's a different world, isn't it? I mean, but it just obviously shows you the value of football versus basketball. We learned that in expansion, obviously.
All right. We spoke with Nick Sheridan a little bit earlier, the Alabama offensive coordinator, and we're going to bring in one of Ryan Brown's longtime friends, Kane Wommack joins us now. He's actually one of the guys who actually knows this show exists because when he was the head coach at South Alabama, he was kind enough to jump on the show with us occasionally. And now here you are in person with us, man.
Yeah, great to be on with you guys. You know, y'all twisted my arm enough at South, right? No, it was great. It was awesome to get on with y'all. And, it's a new role, something different, something that I'm certainly familiar with. And I'm excited to be a coordinator again and do all that. But it's nice to see some familiar faces.
Well, yeah. I was there at the signing day event. And you joked about how nervous you were going to be with when you were going to teach, basically install your defense with Nick Saban. Has that happened yet?
It has happened. In fact, our second in-person meeting happened again this morning. So we're ripping and running through some of the.
Were you late?
And all those things. I was promptly early. I certainly, I told my wife I was like cramming for a final the night before, making sure that all my cut-ups and everything was ready to go for that meeting. But Coach has been awesome. I mean, he really, he's been helpful. He's honest, gives me his real thoughts. I ask him real questions. I want to know this team, right? I want to know what he envisioned, what he built from a defensive perspective, obviously, and how to best kind of, take what was done the last 17 years and how they've evolved over 17 years to the point they are now, and how we best need to make that transition from a defensive scheme. There's a ton of carryover in what we do and what Coach Saban has done. My dad was a longtime defensive coordinator in the SEC. Dave Wommack had great defenses, was kind of one of the originators of the 4-2-5 defense.
Right.
But we are a little bit more of a 3-4 nickel defense. That's really what Coach Saban has been the last few years, where they're able to move in and out of 4 down and 3-4. And so there's a lot of carryover, but I want to make sure that I kind of minimize, some of the things that our players are going to have to learn so that I can, understand their verbiage as well.
So I've been a Kalen DeBoer fan for a long time. These guys will tell you when Saban made the announcement, I was like, home run would be Kalen DeBoer. And then it happens, and Alabama fans, some are questioning, why do you like DeBoer? And I would point out the fact the guy has won absolutely everywhere he's been. You saw what he just did at Washington. But now I use the Kane Wommack factor. I'm like, this guy left a sitting job in the Sun Belt at South Alabama, incredible facilities, just a great position to be in as a young head coach. He had all of his confidence to take everything he's worked for to go back and work with Kalen. So I just use you as the example now.
Well, that's good. I appreciate that. I remember, when Coach Saban retired, and in my mind, my head coach brain, right, all I'm thinking about is my team, right, in Mobile, and that's all that matters. And I'm going, man, I hope nothing changes here. You know what I mean? I just need to keep my staff and everybody in place and all of this stuff, right? And then how quickly, Kalen calls me, I think it was the next morning, then, they were interviewing him in the process. And so, we're friends, right? And so he's, I'm talking through some of the things and about Alabama and what I know and all this stuff, just helping kind of in interview prep, if you will. And then, to go from that to, where we are now. When the opportunity came up and it got to the point to where, okay, Kalen's here, and wants, me to join on as a defensive coordinator, it was just an opportunity I couldn't pass up. I believe in Kalen as much as anybody. I think he's the most genuine person that I know in college football. He's a friend. He's trusted. He's a tremendous offensive mind. He's a tremendous football mind. And that's why I always, as a defensive coordinator, enjoyed being around him, because he sees the game as a head coach, right? I mean, that's what he did. That's where he cut his teeth, right, in those years. And Sioux Falls as a head coach and seeing it from a big picture. So he always sees the game right through that big picture lens. And so as a defensive mind on the opposite side of the ball, right, it was always great to bounce ideas and thoughts off of him. And so to do all those things in Tuscaloosa at Alabama, after all the things that Coach Saban has built, and to be able to take that standard on and take that tradition on, it was an opportunity I wasn't going to turn down.
Nick Sheridan was with us earlier. He made it sound like your wife made the decision that he and Nick, your wife and Nick's wife are such good friends.
They are. They're good friends by far. Melissa, my wife, is the more impressive person in our marriage. Anybody that's met the two of us, Nick and I. It's interesting. I mean, the last time I was calling plays was at IU, was at Indiana in 2020, and Nick Sheridan was the offensive coordinator. And so, we certainly have hit the ground running. We don't cut each other much slack. We get after each other pretty good and have that kind of friendship and relationship. That cuts down on a ton of, when you get a new staff together, right, and we're all coming from different places, different experiences, right, you're kind of feeling each other out, right? When you have the offensive and defensive coordinator and the head coach that have all worked together, that really cuts down on some of the just, question marks and feeling each other out and all that stuff. And so I get after Nick pretty good. Did you get his day one install from him yet? Formationally, what he's putting in?
We've been talking about if you'll hang out at break, that's all we talk about.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I mean, so I joked with him about 4 verts on Madden, and I think he thought I was serious.
Yeah. Seriously.
That is nothing like Madden.
That's when he got up and left.
Was like this idiot.
Yeah. You're going to realize I know nothing about football.
I'm a defensive guy, so is that not what they do? They just don't pick Madden. X goes to Y.
That's exactly right.
That's just blitz.
I assume that's what they've been doing.
See, you get us, man. You know the show that I don't know nothing about X's and O's.
So I'm still waiting for my tuition refund from South since he left.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, don't you think I got a shot at that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think
don't even ask.
I think your
He
daughter's
buy
good.
season tickets, though. I mean,
You bought season
Yeah.
tickets. You know what I mean? I think we got a little bit of gear for you. Right?
Yeah. I got some gear. We did a gear trade when I was down there for Parents' Day, but
if you need some Alabama stuff, I know it.
When it comes to other sports, like I can look at a guy that played basketball, I can pretty much tell you the position he played. Same with baseball, football, impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So you were part of maybe the best collegiate backfield of all time. When you look at Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis, you were in Fayetteville. Is that when you looked around and you're like, I ain't ever going to play?
I better coach.
I think.
But I was going to say,
circles,
I don't know if I would have said fullback. I probably would have said maybe.
Fullback,
I know, but I would have said maybe a center, maybe a linebacker.
Wow.
You went from center to linebacker.
Wow.
I'm really not sure how to take that.
No, but most offensive line, they lose a lot of weight when they get done, right?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So that's
okay.
And you're drinking some kind of supplements making you drop LBs right now?
Hey, message received.
Yeah.
The diet starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
I had you playing FC, future coach.
That's right. Well, I think if you talk to Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis was in that room, and we had 3 NFL franchise running backs. I'd probably be referred to as the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Right? The job of a fullback in Arkansas's offense at that time was to get the hell out of the way.
How did y'all not win more, by the way?
Wow. We went to an SEC championship.
Yeah, back when the SEC wasn't the SEC.
Wow, he's tough on you,
He's
coach.
tough, man. You know what I mean? He's rock and rolling. Imagine if I call the wrong defensive play this season.
We won't know that.
Yeah.
That's right.
If you do, call it in the second half because he won't see it in the second half.
There you go.
But I mean, that
He
was
leaves at halftime.
and Peyton Hillis wasn't Peyton Hillis then.
Well, we had, we had those guys, right? We had just come off of before Matt Jones was there, the long 6'6" quarterback. He ran a 4.3 and
longest strides in sports.
Played receiver with Jacksonville.
Yeah, played receiver with Jags and so we had come from that. Well, we had all these star players in the backfield, and we had this 6'6" receiver in Marcus Monk that was also one of the forwards of our basketball team. And we were the biggest offensive line in the country, so we
Jason Peters on that offensive line?
Jason had already played just before him and Sean Andrews, who were both phenomenal. Jason was a tight end for us. He wasn't a tackle. I mean, for those of you that can picture Jason Peters, who's been playing offensive tackle in the league for 16 years now?
Yeah, at least.
Right? He was our tight end next to a first-round draft pick in Sean Andrews. When a 6 technique lined up against him, didn't matter if that dude was the best 6 technique in the country. He was getting moved off the ball, right? And so those were the years that my dad was the defensive coordinator at Arkansas for Houston Nutt. And then my senior year, in high school. He left to go with Steve Spurrier at South Carolina, and I stayed and played at Arkansas. And we had some good teams, regardless of what some media people would say.
Now, Mitch Mustaine, I think that year you went, he was 8-0 as like the starting quarterback. Whatever happened to him?
Yeah, Mitch. So Mitch, Mitch had he had a lot of tough expectations put on him. If you grow up in the state of Arkansas, there's no pro team. There's nothing other than Razorback football, right? And so, when you are the quarterback from that state, that you're coming now with your offensive coordinator. My second year, our offensive coordinator was Gus Malzahn, and we brought four players from that team, and obviously Mitch was expected to kind of come in and be the guy. And so a lot of expectations for a freshman to come in there. And we were playing South Carolina. As a matter of fact, my dad was there at South Carolina, and there were some things that he had put on tape, and that South Carolina felt like they could expose, and they did. They got 2 interceptions on us in the first half, and so we quickly adjusted in the second half, and Darren McFadden rushed for about 200 yards, and the rest was rock and roll history. So that was it was, I think it was a hard, when you're a freshman, and you have those expectations, there are a lot of things that you're going to have to do in order to be able to manage and maneuver that with the people around you, and simply just the expectations you're going to have to deal with. But I thought for a freshman being around Mitch, he did a really good job of that. It's just hard living.
So you didn't call, and Kane Wommack is with us for a few more moments, the Alabama defensive coordinator, and you didn't call the defense at South, right?
No, I did not. No.
Yeah, so this will be the first time since Indiana. So how I talked to Coach Sheridan about that, because I know there's that adrenaline, right, of always being, in your case, always being a player 2 ahead of the offense, right? And having that perfect defense at the perfect time. That's got to be exciting to get back into that.
It really is. I'm excited about it. I was thrilled to hear that we're still playing with 11 people out there on the field, so that part's really good.
11 good ones too.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so, I love being a defensive coordinator. I mean, I loved my time as a head coach at South Alabama. You and I have had some conversations about how much I enjoyed Mobile, how much I loved the University of South Alabama. I loved being a head coach, was building that team into something that I think can be really special over the next couple of years. And Major Applewhite's going to do a tremendous job there. But I missed being a defensive coordinator. I miss, having a room, right, of guys that you're connected to, and calling plays on game day was phenomenal, and so, I am really excited about that portion of doing things. And it's not like I was that far removed. I mean, I was in the game plan room, but Coach Saban and I, not to make comparisons to myself and Coach Saban, right, but just from an operational standpoint, the way he did things here, and listening to him and how he did it, and the way I did things at South Alabama were very similar. Heavily involved in our defense, heavily involved in special teams, constant meetings with our offense just to stay aware of what they were doing. But, the game constantly changes in college football, right? There's formational things, run game, progression reads in the passing game, all these things that you've got to stay on top of. If you remove yourself 3 years entirely and just say, hey, I'm a head coach and I'm just going to go recruit and, hobnob with bigwigs, right? The game's going to pass you by. So fortunately, right, those are the things that we've stayed on top of.
I think a really difficult decision is when you got 2 bad options. So you had 2 really good options, though. And I mean,
you mean in terms of professionally?
Yeah, professionally. Yeah. So a bad decision is if I've got 2 bad options. That's a hard decision. Which one I'm going to pick? I mean, you could not have gone wrong. You stay and you continue to build South, or you come here. I mean, but how difficult of a decision was it?
The decision itself was very evident to me of what I needed to do. The process was very challenging. Right? That's hard. You
facing the players.
The whole thing. I mean, just knowing, here's the hard thing. The problem in the difference in college football and the way we have a transition, right, in terms of jobs versus, the standard, hey, I'm going to put in my 2 weeks notice. I'm going to get to wrap things up here. I'm going to get to even acknowledge to people, what they've meant to you, how special they were. I got a 15-minute meeting with my coaching staff, and then walked right into a 10-minute meeting with my players, and then I was headed up to Tuscaloosa to make sure that we retained our team and roster. And so those are the things that are really hard, right, to have to deal with. And, you know, I've got 3 little boys at the house, right? And you know, Melissa's now a single parent, you know, not like she wasn't already, you know, for the majority of the year.
But you were at least in the same city.
At least I was in the same city, right? You know, and sometimes put my head on the pillow next to her. But those are the things, right, that make it really challenging. The decision to come here with Kalen DeBoer at Alabama was very evident.
Yeah. You're a trendsetter, though, because – you know, you did it, and then all of a sudden Chip Kelly's doing it. Other coaches are leaving head coaching jobs.
Yeah, how about
Go be a coordinator. So, will you be in the booth? Are you calling from there?
I'm a
sideline guy.
Yeah. So when I was 26 years old, I got my first Division I coordinator job. I was the defensive coordinator at Eastern Illinois, where I was Tony Romo played there, Jimmy Garoppolo, Mike Shannon, all that stuff.
Jack State's was Jack State in the same conference at the time?
Jacksonville State was in the same conference.
Old school,
exactly right. Yeah. And I called that first season from up in the box, and I was like a duck on water, right? My feet were going 100 miles an hour under that deal. And I was so, obviously the Ohio Valley Conference doesn't have the creme de la creme, press boxes either, right? That you're dealing with. And so sometimes you could see the whole field and sometimes you couldn't see the whole field. I decided right then and there I would never do that again. I like to see the players' eyes. I'm maybe I'm giving away trade secrets here, but I signal on game day. I do those things. I want to have that interaction with those 11 bodies on the field. I want them to see my eyes, calm down, pick it up. Let's get going here. Those are the things that I think as a play caller are really important. If you can be the guy that they're looking to on the sideline in between every single play, I think there's a lot of value in that. And so that's something that, we've kind of evolved to.
And I would imagine you can download a lot of information from them, not just about what's going on the field, but how they're reacting to what's going on the field.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I think, one, you have to have a great, here's how we teach this defense, and I'm going to get to that point, but we talk about teaching the concepts, all right? So first off, we don't ever teach a player his job, right? You're the Mike linebacker. Here's what you do in cover 3. Right. You're the hook drop, right? Here is cover 3. Here are the things that we do. This is why we play cover 3. Here are the issues with cover 3. Here are the teams, how teams are going to attack it, so on and so forth. Then we talk about situational philosophy, right? Here's how cover 3 is applied to third down, to red zone, to first and second down, to 2-minute drive when they need a field goal versus 2-minute when they need a touchdown, right? All those different things. So during the season, most of our time is spent on offensive recognition. They know the concept. They know how the concept is applied to the situation. Now, to your point on game day, it's all about offensive recognition of what we thought they were going to be and having a clear line of communication between me and the players in real time to make those adjustments to how teams adjust. I asked Coach Saban this question earlier, this morning. I mean, how different were teams the four games prior to playing Alabama to what they actually came in? Sometimes vastly different because of our personnel and the things that we do. That's a credit to Coach and the way they did things here and the personnel that we have. But just being aware of that and making sure that the players know, hey, Coach, they came out in a totally different thing than what we thought. Those are the communications you can have on the sideline.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah. You can't wait for that first game, can you?
Oh, I can't wait for the first spring practice. So
that's true. That's coming on Monday. Yeah. Good news. I got good news for you.
No, it's great.
How many more meetings you got with Nick Saban before Monday?
Well, we're not going to meet again between now and then. He said at some point, I think, he's going to try to take my money on a golf course, so we'll do that at some point.
Well, you probably text him like 6-7 times a day, right?
I try not to bother him that much. You know what I mean?
He's not on the golf course now. Be careful.
Yeah, he's got more time than ever.
Played a little bit right now.
That's true. There's a significant disadvantage right now. He has a tactical advantage over me. The fact that I, have quite a bit of work to do up here in the building. So, but I'm it's exciting. It's great to be here with people that you trust. It's great to be here with the resources and tradition and standard that is Alabama football. But ultimately the ball gets spotted August 31st. And everything that we do is building to that moment.
Hey, real quick, Nick Saban, obviously the best to ever do it, but Steve Spurrier, maybe the most dominant because the SEC wasn't as good as when Nick Saban was there. But your relationship with Steve Spurrier through your father, would he have been good in the NIL world?
That's an interesting question. I don't know if I have a good answer for it. I know Everybody kind of handles it a little bit differently. Coach Spurrier was very matter of fact about how he would talk to you, whether he's known you for many years.
But he would tell you if you weren't earning your money, right?
100%. You know what I mean? It would have been
love to hear those sound
It would have been
bites.
very evident. You know what I mean? I would guess, right? That would be a trigger that he would use out there on the field. In terms of what he did. He told me when I was coming out of high school, I was trying to decide, where I was going to go. And I wanted to go to Arkansas, but I met with him, to see if I wanted to go to South Carolina. And he came in and he goes, it was just him sitting in the room. I thought, this is the most amazing thing ever. I'm sitting next to Steve Spurrier and he's talking to me. He goes, well, yeah, I've gone through spring ball and I've seen our fullbacks were not very good. So you'll probably come in and start. And and I thought, you know what? There's no way in hell I'm coming here to start. You know what I mean? Yeah. For you in this offense, it was fairly complicated. You know what I mean? For anybody, let alone a freshman. But he's just so matter of fact in the way that he communicates. I thought it was pretty good.
All right, he is Kane Wommack, the defensive coordinator at Alabama. It's always good to see you, Coach.
Yeah, great to be with you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for opening up the doors. We'll talk to Kalen DeBoer coming up in 2 segments, so stay with us. This is the Next Round live from Tuscaloosa.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1, find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2, stream it now. Miss Hour 3, download it for later. Miss Hour 4, well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Sports fans, Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today. Tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. It's paid for by the Sports Betting Alliance. Again, sportsbettingalliance.org.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today. It's that time of year again. The Legacy Swap and Drop promotion is back. It's bigger than ever. Swap your current auto loan or RV loan to Legacy and drop your interest rate and monthly payment. Don't miss out on this opportunity to save big with our friends at Legacy Credit Union. Not a member yet? That's okay. You too can save by becoming a member today. Head over to swapanddrop.com. Apply in minutes. That's swapanddrop.com, or visit one of their 9 greater Birmingham area branches. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions may apply. See Credit Union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Hey, welcome back. Final hour of the show now. A little late getting to the final hour after our friend Kane Wommack spent some time with us here. We'll talk to Kalen DeBoer. in the next segment coming up. Trash is going to happen in this segment. If you're new to the show today, make sure you subscribe on whatever platform you're watching us and hit the thumbs up or the like button. We do appreciate you joining us. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and all the gang back in Birmingham. We have a ton of our folks here. Scott Forrester handling all the cameras and some of the videos behind us on this big setup here in Tuscaloosa inside the Malmore building. Today, Taylor Korn is here with us on site, doing everything social media, kicking out some of the content. Emily Grace McWhorter here as well, doing the work, talking with the coaches and helping facilitate so much of the stuff here. And we're glad to be here in Tuscaloosa today. Basketball happening tonight over in Oxford. You get Alabama on the road against Ole Miss in a big game. Auburn's got a big one in Knoxville tonight, 11 versus 4 in the AP poll, 5 versus 6 in the Ken Palm, 6 o'clock for Auburn and Tennessee, 8 o'clock for Bama and Ole Miss. And if you want to play the games in the future, you can do that if you call your senator on a sports book as close as your phone, right?
Yeah, I shot out a group text to a lot of people up at our company yesterday. Did you guys make the call to the senator?
Yeah, I didn't get a call back.
Okay.
I did not call yesterday. I was on the golf course.
But you got plenty of time on your way back. You guys will make the call today, right?
Yep. I'll see if I can get it this time.
Very important for not only us, for the masses out there. 334-261-0800. Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. It's your money. You should be able to do with it what you want. Now is the time with House Bill 151 that allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Did you realize Alabama only one of 12 states that you can't legally bet on sports? Call your state and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. It's paid for by the Sports Betting Alliance. Again, that number to call today and tell them to vote yes, House Bill 151, 334-261-0800.
All right. Also, this hour brought to you by our friends at Champy's Chicken, champyschicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. They brine their chicken overnight. They cook it to order, so it's piping hot when it comes out. Hand-cut chicken fingers, all the great sides that go with that, specially made desserts, and the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You see it on your screen there. That's Sterling. He's a big fan of college sports. Big Bama fan, I think. champyschicken.com, champyschicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go by and see him when you watch the games tonight. Perfect. We'll get to trash in just a second. Let me dump a couple of things off the sheet here. We don't know if Latrell Wrightsell is playing tonight, but we do expect him to play.
I would say that he is going to play. I would lean that way, but it's not definitive.
What about Jalen Williams?
I would lean that Williams is not going to play.
I would say Williams not. Right.
I think you're right on both of those, yeah.
Mississippi State tied it up last night with Kentucky.
What an ending.
89-89. And then Reed Shepherd, who, by the way, I covered his mom her senior year of high school, my last year in Lexington.
Miss Shepherd?
Yeah, no, she married name is Shepherd.
Oh,
I forget what I think her last name was Reed. I think that's how they named it.
Okay.
Reed Shepherd, and she was a baller, I think, from London, Kentucky, a guard, and he had a great night last night. He hit the buzzer beater, 91-89. So Kentucky gets a big win at Mississippi State in that big contest there. The weird thing I want to bring up before we get to trash on that was, because of everything we've seen with the court storming, at 4 minutes.
Hey, is Filipowski okay, though?
He's going to live.
Okay.
But to my point, what I'm talking about, at 4:11 last night, with Mississippi State up 4 over Kentucky, 4:11 left. It's a 4-minute timeout. On the scoreboard, in big red, white letters, red background, like a warning sign, reminder, please stay off the court at the conclusion of tonight's game.
The old jinx.
Reminder. But you sort of have to do that now in today's world.
Yeah.
But nothing is more motivating. If I'm Cal at that point in the bench at the other four timeout, look, they're already talking about storming the court, boys. Let's don't let them win this game. You can see that on social media.
Yeah, I would definitely. That would have been something I would have brought up.
Yeah, they think they won the game already.
Here's what's
Let's
wild.
keep them in the stands.
Last 36 seconds in the play-by-play. Reed Shepherd made free throw. 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 Reed Shepherd made jumper. He literally took the game over.
Yeah, I don't think he gets enough minutes, to be honest with you.
Scores over 30. He did get the start last night, I believe, on the road for Cal and Kentucky there. All right, time for trash. It's brought to you by Mortgage Right. Kalen DeBoer after that in the next segment. Rockstar, let's hit the big button, man.
Congratulations, the Cure Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees 2019. Are you as excited as I am?
By the sounds of it, no.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Buying a home, major milestone in life. Getting it right comes down to the right advice at the right time. That's why we're proud to partner with our friends at Mortgage Right, who do mortgages the right way. 205-815-9200. You can apply online. Go to mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239. Equal housing lender. We start first. Police were called to an event described as a Willy Wonka experience.
Okay.
As angry families demanded refunds. This was in Scotland. The event was advertised as a journey filled with wondrous creations and enchanting surprises at every turn. But one visitor told BBC Scotland News was a little more than a, quote, abandoned, empty warehouse. Now, it was canceled by organizers. The House of Illuminati midway through Saturday.
Illuminati?
Following complaints from parents, they have said that full refunds will be given to everyone who bought tickets, reported to cost up to $45. Now, Eva Stewart said one of the kids crying with disappointment at the event, which was scheduled to run on Saturday and Sunday. Quote, it was basically advertised as a big, massive Willy Wonka experience with optical illusions, big chocolate fountains and sweets, end quote. But when we got there, it was practically an abandoned, empty warehouse with hardly anything in it. Post from organizers, House of Illuminati in January described the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory themed event as where dreams become reality.
I find it odd. Rockstar, how many? I think they have done 4 versions of this movie now. Am I right about that, Rockstar?
The original with Gene Wilder, the remake with Johnny Depp, and then I think they did a sequel. No, and then they do the new one with what's his name, Timothy Chalamet.
It's just called Wonka. Yeah. I thought they had done one more. The fascination with this movie's odd.
I don't get it.
And they spin it a different way every now and then.
I guess. I don't know.
Like, I would think
it'd be scary at times.
If you like to hallucinate, if you do any of those type of drugs, then maybe it's good. I don't know. I like the original as a kid a little bit.
But from day one, the grandparents in the same bed together, laying head to foot, never felt comfortable to me.
What do you think it smells like in that room?
It had to be awful. And it was just like from day one when I saw that movie at Saks Elementary or Saks Middle, wherever we saw that movie, that freaked me out from day one.
Do you think Charlie, the original, do you think that grandfather's still alive?
No.
Kidding.
Got to be going with us.
I'm going to agree with this. It's going to be very polarizing. This topic is. But visiting Walt Disney World has only grown in cost over recent years. And now, according to a survey, the Orlando theme parks are the biggest ripoff that someone can experience.
I disagree.
I totally disagree as well. Yeah. Everything's priced up, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, they can get it. So by that, I'm just saying for me personally, like, I didn't like anything about Disney.
No. There was nothing I hated about it.
I love it.
And I've been 3 times. I'm not a fan of it.
I love it so much. We're going back next week. Take the family next week.
I am shocked you like it.
Oh, I'll go. Maggie and I will go without kids.
Why are you surprised Dunaway likes it?
Well, just because there's so many people like on the Rascals and lines are long. And
I mean, the Rascals bother me. Those people think they own the world. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
They need their own area to ride around in.
Yeah, like I didn't think any of the rides are great. Epcot was fun. I liked Epcot. Yeah. But outside Epcot,
I love Epcot, though. There's a lot of great rides.
Oh, I very much enjoy it. Like I said, we're going back next week. I think their business plan is remarkable. Yeah. They've got such a good business plan.
It's going to be about pricing. Pricing of everything has gone up.
Yeah.
You go, the salary cap in the NFL in 1994 when it started was $34 million. Now it went up $30 million.
This is why it's polarizing, though. If people that love it, they don't mind the price, and obviously supply and demand. Yep. There's a price point they can get. But if you don't buy in and then you see how the prices have gone, I mean, it is, you guys will give me, you got to take a wallet.
It's not
the first thing you pack.
But that's why their business plan is so good, because I've already paid for where we're staying, right? I don't pay that when I get there. I've already done it. It's already been paid. I mean, it was paid a month ago, right? And then when I get there, we get that band.
Oh, by the way, the food sucks. You got to give me that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
now, that depends on where you go. You can go some places that are good, yeah. When you get there, you get the band. And everything I do, I just do that band. I don't even know how much I'm paying. I don't know. Do you get there?
I had a great Wiener Schnitzel in Germany.
Okay. I think it's Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in Mexico, I was really disappointed with the Mexican food. But there are different. Cool thing about Epcot is you can do the around the world, which I actually did one day, which was fun. But so Disney World opened in 1971. Admission prices then $3.50 for adults.
That was a bargain.
$250 for juniors under the age of 18, and $1 for any kids under 12. Now, on President's Day, we saw the tickets selling $184 per person. That's a 5,157% increase in just 50 years of operations of tickets alone. Casino.org conducted the study and began by stating, bamboozled and swindled. Sometimes the only way describing experiences that were certainly less than we bargained for. In the end, Disney World ranked as the #1 biggest U.S. tourist attraction ripoff.
Yeah, but what was a house in 1971? You'd buy a house for what,
$30,000? Yeah.
You'd buy the car, the best car that was being advertised during a college football game or an NFL game in 1971. The top of the line model would have been $4,999.
I'm just saying, outside of the kid's smile, which is priceless,
you
are paying to dodge rascals, bad food, a lot of lines, and crowds. You hate crowds. I'm shocked.
I love Disney. Disney's fantastic. Wouldn't change a thing.
The Mickey Ears ice cream sandwich.
Yep. Love it.
Had another one of those ice cream sandwiches last night.
Did you? I've got to get one of those things.
Good. Struggling to focus on a single thought or task. Finding yourself constantly distracted by social media. You might have what is known as popcorn brain. Now, coined by researcher David Levy back in 2011, the term popcorn brain refers to a person's attention quickly jumping from thought to thought, much like the kernels popping in popcorn. 2003 study of the University of California, Irvine, found the average attention span was 2 minutes and 30 seconds. This is going to drop. In 2012, average attention span, 75 seconds. Now, the attention span for most people is about 47 seconds.
I've noticed this.
Sad. Now, over time, quote, this constant demand for attention and rapid switching between tasks can lead to a feeling of mental restlessness or the brain bouncing around as it struggles to maintain focus on any one task for an extended period. This, according to psychologist Daniel Hag, she told Glamour UK.
I would ask Taylor if she wanted to send out a poll question of the show, the three of us and Rockstar, so the four of us, who has the shortest attention span.
I'm gonna.
I think we'd get a variety of different answers.
Probably so. Rockstar, how do you qualify your attention span?
God, I don't know. I don't know.
It depends on what you like, right?
Yeah, well, mine's gotten worse. I know mine's gotten worse. I mean, I'll own it.
I can't watch a movie, but you love watching movies. So there's your attention span for 2 hours is good there.
No,
but sometimes on the show or in a conversation, you may bounce around. For me, my attention span, like in sports now, I can't stand to just watch one game. I used to be able, I grew up when there was just one game on.
I like it better when I watch, like last night I had on something on the main and then I had the four split screen of YouTube.
You're right. It's comforting when there's only one big game that you care about. You only have to watch that one game. But if they're
it became Mississippi State, Kentucky for me because you can go to that 4 box and click on that, and that's right. What I did down the strip.
But I find myself, Maggie walks in sometimes, and she's like, "You've got all your TVs on these quad boxes. How does that not drive you crazy?" And I said, "There's something comforting about it for me, but it's because I don't feel like I'm missing anything. So my attention span is not."
Oh, mine's awful. Mine's awful.
Yeah, like I don't think mine is 47 seconds bad.
It depends on what it is.
It does depend on what it is.
Yeah. I mean, you can sit down and watch a 3-hour movie. That's a good attention span.
Yeah. Nashville hardcore outfit by the name of, what is this, Rocky? Lorona?
Lola Rana
recently told quite the tale regarding the firing of their vocalist Diego. Now, the group explained the dismissal via a notes post shared in the stories of the band's Instagram last week.
Oh, you know when it's a notes post, it's going bad.
Yeah, in it, they explained the Diego of having secretly been choosing one of the band members, choosing to dose one of the band members.
What is dosing?
You put something in somebody's drink.
Oh, okay.
With estrogen essentially forcing a several-month transition onto him, according to the since-deleted post. Diego has allegedly been seeking to weaken Six in hopes of ultimately winning over Six's significant other.
It's raining, man.
Boy, this is one, we're not going to do the seduction here. We're not going to throw a bogus story out about Six. We're going to actually dose him with estrogen.
Okay, so, all right, this is a guy. And he has secretly been slipping this guy estrogen to try to make him a woman so he can steal his woman.
Yeah. Now, quote, we have decided to part ways with our vocalist Diego due to the admission of a very disturbing and concerning behavior towards one of our band members and their partner. He has admitted to being obsessed with said partner and has been attempting to sabotage their relationship by cutting pre-workout he frequently gifts from his job with high amounts of estrogen in them. He has been attempting to force a transition onto him for the last 5 months in hopes that would give him an opportunity to, quote, swoop in once he looks stronger and more manly in comparison. Did not work out for Diego.
They knew something was up when he kept always wondering it right before the show. Do these pants look big on me? They make my butt look big when I'm singing the solo. That is Trash Today, brought to you by
our friends at Mortgage Right. Buying a house, a major milestone in life, getting it right comes down to the right advice at the right time. 205-815-9200 or mortgageright.com/TNR.
All right, so already on the show, Nick Sheridan and Kane Wommack, offensive and defensive coordinator. Monday spring practice starts here in Tuscaloosa. You get those wherever you get our video and audio podcast. In our next segment, we'll talk to head coach Kalen DeBoer about the transition and everything else that we will talk to Kalen DeBoer about for the rest of the show. So we'll spend 30 minutes with the Alabama head coach and hang out and get to know him a little bit and let you guys get to know him. We appreciate all the comments in the chat room. Keep those going throughout the day. And don't forget another edition of the new show, The Meltdown, later today at 2 o'clock Central Time, right here on these platforms. Remember on their show as well to like and subscribe, just like we hope you do right here. We'll talk to Kalen DeBoer in the next segment, live here from Tuscaloosa, being brought to you in part today by our friends at Hemphill.
205-229-2090. Hard to stop a train. Make sure that HVAC unit ready to keep up with this changing weather. I think the high is going to be 57 tomorrow.
No, that's not good. Like. We do not want that. Yep.
Yeah, so it's going to go back to chilly. House is hot right now. Need to make sure that you've got that HVAC unit dialed in. Our friends at Hemphill Services, they can help out with that. 205-229-2090 for more information, hemphillservices.com.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
Back with you to Tuscaloosa. We appreciate everyone who's been helping us out over here throughout the day. Don't forget basketball tonight, Auburn and Tennessee, 6 o'clock on ESPN2. Rockstar, if you'll give me cut number 2. Rick Barnes. I'll get these guys' reaction on what and who Rick Barnes is at this point in his career. But here is Rick Barnes talking about tonight's game against Auburn and how important it is from Tennessee and how the Volunteers are playing this evening.
How do you and the guys plan to keep your momentum going into 4 tough top 25 matchups with Auburn coming up Wednesday?
Well, I mean, you look at our schedule. I mean, every team we are going to play from here on out is going to be in the NCAA tournament. And so it is about building and trying to improve. And obviously, if you think you've arrived this right now, every team we play, our guys understand if we're not locked in, we could get beat and get beat badly. And so it's about, we talk about mindset, like every coach you ask that question to any coach in the country. You hope that you can, again, realize where we are this time of year and you're going to be ready to go because it can go one way or it can go the other real quick and get away from you.
In Knoxville tonight, 6 o'clock, number 11, Auburn, number 4, Tennessee.
Isn't he the active winningest coach in college basketball? Am I right about that? I could see that. I think that's right. With Roy gone, with Coach K gone, and with Boeheim gone, I think because he's in front of Self. He's won more games than Self.
Yeah, I could see that. Okay, so 26 years. This is after Providence and Clemson. So 26 years at just Texas and Tennessee, and the one Final Four. And I know Final Fours are tough, but at Tennessee now we're in year 9. You've had 2 Sweet 16s. You hadn't advanced more. Like if I'm a Tennessee fan, we mentioned this to Clay Travis yesterday. Like this team has got to go deeper than just the second weekend of the tournament. And I know it's difficult to do.
Yeah. What's the point spread? Have you seen this one?
Yeah, it's 6.5.
6.5 Tennessee.
So it's actually bumped up to 7.5. That's why, it opened at like 5.5 or 6. It's all the way to 7.5. That tells me somebody's got a little inside information that Jalen will not play tonight.
Let me correct myself. He's actually behind Self. I'm surprised that he's behind Bill Self. I know Bill Self's won a lot, but Rick Barnes coaching a long time.
Yeah, but you got to remember Self had his days at Illinois. Yeah. So Self now in year 21 at Kansas. You know how many home games he's lost in 21 years?
21 years at Kansas. 10.
Well, I'm
not
going to surprise you then. They had won 19 straight until they lost to BYU last night, but they've lost 18 in 21 years for him.
Well, I mean, they never lose there. I'm surprised it's 18. Calipari in front of him as well. So he's the third winningest. I could not have been more wrong about that. But he's a complicated guy because he's won all those games. But to Lance's point, what is the thing that stands out about him?
The postseason.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to win.
Lack of success.
That's where you're judged, though, right?
It's hard to win as many games as he's won. Just look at the contemporaries of the guys that he is in the group with Calipari and Bill Self. Those guys have been to tons of Final Fours. Calipari's got the one national championship.
Calipari's got it. Yeah,
the one, but he played for another one at Memphis. Self, he
played for another one at Kentucky.
Played for another one at Kentucky that he lost, and that's just what Rick Barnes has done.
I think Barnes, if you go back to the Texas days, when you look back at that in retrospect, it's not as bad because you have the Final Four and you had 2 more Elite Eights, so there were deeper runs. It's just if I'm a Tennessee fan, you've had a really good product in what has become a really good league, but once you get to the postseason, it just doesn't equate to success.
A lot of college football housekeeping going on as the commissioners have been meeting about the college football playoffs and how that's going to look. There's a discussion about moving the start of bowl season up to the second Saturday in December, which is where Army-Navy stands along right now.
So go ahead to have with Army-Navy potentially?
There's talk about it maybe even if they want to continue to play, moving them up to championship weekend, whatever they want to do. But, what was a place for, I think, 7 bowl games this past year now is going to be replaced by that Saturday with 3 playoff games, and of course one on that Friday night. So the calendar's getting crunched. And so they're talking about moving to start a bowl season up a Saturday.
It always, to me, and this takes me back, this is nostalgic. It takes me back to high school, college days when you're out for Christmas break and you start to get those bowl games on that first real or second real Saturday. But moving it up, as long as they keep it away from Army, Navy, I kind of hate it for the kids. Your reward for a bowl is, to let it process a little bit. Here's where we get the bowl bid. We wait a couple of weeks, go home, see family, practice a little bit, and then you go to that destination. Just seems really rapid fire to go straight into it.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel, but I understand that they need to move it up because they want to keep the bowls away from the college football playoff because the bowls have even less meaning with the college football playoff going.
And ESPN owns the rights to those bowl games as well. Right. And they'll be broadcasting those playoff games. So they want people to watch those bowl games too. So moving those around. Dan Enos, one-time offensive coordinator at Arkansas, joins the Florida staff yesterday as an off-the-field analyst. So that's a football mind that is going there. And another team starting spring practice. Auburn started yesterday. Monday, Alabama starts. Today, Dabo Swinney and Clemson start spring drills up there in Clemson, South Carolina. And probably because it's not SEC or Big Ten, Clemson's way under the radar this year.
Well, they haven't been to a college football playoff since the pandemic. And
that is hard to believe.
Yeah. And because
so they were in 19 or were they in 20 as well?
They were in 20.
Okay.
Because of the affiliation with the ACC, we just thought you could kind of pencil them in. And I'm really shocked. I understand Dabo's reluctance to embrace NIL, at least that's what people say, and some of these transfers.
And the portal, yeah.
But I still thought just with his recruiting that he had, like T. Higgins just got a franchise tag with the Bengals. Second-round guy is making over $20 million. And that wasn't his best receiver back in the day. But Clemson had just great skill. And from there to that, or to where we are now, it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. No, I would agree 100% with you. That's hard for me to believe that it has been since the pandemic. That's a little bit of a shocking revelation you just gave me there.
All right. We're going to bring in Kalen DeBoer now, Alabama's head football coach. Coach, welcome in. I don't know why I'm welcoming you. We're in your building today, but thank you for having us over here.
Welcome to you guys.
This is sort of a new feeling for us to be in the building over here. And you made the announcement yesterday. You're going to have open viewing areas for the media and practices. You obviously learned very early that we could watch practices and not figure out anything you were doing anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime we can kind of work together to get our message out from our program, and I know you all want to see what's happening too, and so that balance where it's benefiting both of us, I think that's what we're trying to find. So I'm looking forward to it.
How surreal is the moment? We talked about months ago how you used to make sandwiches for your players at Sioux Falls. You go from that to coaching at a national championship setting in Washington to just 6-7 weeks ago, you're on a podium, is Alabama's new head coach, and 10 feet in front of you is Nick Saban, the greatest to ever do it. Are you one of those guys that gets caught up in a surreal moment? I mean, you didn't seem so behind the podium, but it seems kind of like a dream scenario.
Yeah, I think as you get older, you have perspective. And fortunately, I think I've had a lot of experiences to where you have some perspective on the things that are happening in your life, making a national championship game. And a lot of it revolves around what you're doing for those around you or what the experience is for them. And so, those were awesome events, winning a Pac-12 championship and seeing the guys rush the field, after the Sugar Bowl and all of that. Those are the moments you do what you do for, and the fan bases and all that. But, I think just personally, there's an understanding of, coming to Alabama, what that all means. And, you don't just have time to sit there and really process necessarily and predict what's going to happen. You're just in the moment and you're working where your feet are at each and every day and giving your all, just like you have for the last 20 some years that I've been a football coach.
I try not to make important decisions when I'm tired or emotional. And it felt like you maybe had to do that. I mean, I could be misreading that, but you had just lost the national championship game on Monday. Coach Saban retires on Tuesday. And I believe it was Thursday that Greg Byrne was having dinner with you and your wife. I mean, you had to be tired and emotional at that point. What was the process of making that decision for you?
Yeah, it was a lot. I'm not gonna lie. That I remember specifically Tuesday. We're heading back on a plane, and texting a lot of the guys, especially the ones that were done. How much I loved them, how much I appreciated everything they given, how excited I am about the next phase of their life, and even that night, just man, we 24 hours ago, we had a chance to win a national championship, and we fell short. And that just eating at me. And Wednesday, kind of just realizing, okay, it's time to go win a national championship. It's time to get back to work already right now and not be in your feelings and all that kind of stuff. And so, that was the mindset. And then obviously, like you said, it switches into a different area, different topic, and different conversations. A little over 24 hours later, Thursday, mid-morning, afternoon, and things like that. And, Friday getting the call that the opportunity existed to come here. It was a lot, but I got a good support system. I got a lot of people from family to friends, whether they're in the profession or not. And again, I think having that perspective and be able to slow things down, and it was things that I was able to do, and I feel awesome about how it all came together.
You used the word love there, and that's the scouting report on you, that you're not afraid to use the word, and relationships mean a lot to you in this business, whether it's your coaching staff that stays with you a long, long time, or your relationship with players. Talk a little bit about that and how you've kept a certain group of people around you for a long time, and even bringing people back like Kane to be on your coaching staff.
Yeah, I think the people you put around you are so important, and they got to be they got to be skilled, and they got to be talented, and all those good things. They'd be great in the recruiting and everything football related. But if you can put like-minded and driven people around you that have a great heart and low ego, I think we put so much time into each and every day. If you can have some fun while you're doing it, because if you're not, it becomes even a greater grind than what it is already. That's important. And so, quickly realized, guys like Kane Wommack and many others on the staff, how great of coaches they were, what their impact was, how, working together and us being, stronger than the cumulative of our parts individually. I think that's huge. And we have a staff right now that I feel great about as far as like-minded and why we do what we do, but also extremely skilled and having great experiences and coming together, with low ego.
Is it important sometimes to bring in new blood, though, new voices that haven't been with you a couple of years?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of that.
Yeah,
really. There's only 2 coaches on the staff that were with me at Washington.
Right.
Shep and Sheridan. And so a lot of different pieces. I think it's huge. You want people that know your systems, not just, I'm talking offensively, but just kind of the mechanics of your operation and what, how to get that consistency incorporated into our program here quickly, as efficiently as possible. But I completely agree. I think you have to always be evolving. And in order to evolve, you have to have other voices. And I think we got a great combination of that. I mean, I think we have other head coaches like Mo Lindquist, and what he brings, and sitting in his position meeting the other day, and just what type of coach he is, just is awesome. Our guys are going to get coached up in a special way, and I go around each room and hear that. And Coach Cap, with the offensive line, just time and time again, as I was looking for an offensive line coach, which I think is one of the critical pieces. They're all critical, but a huge part of your program. And just the recommendations, I mean, he's living up to all those, already just in 1 week here being together with him. So I go on and on about every coach and what they bring. I think we got a special group that is ready to, prove something. They're driven people. And again, I keep bringing up low ego because, the decisions we make have to be the best decisions for Alabama football, not the ones because we thought of it.
I've always believed there's like great musicians and actors that'll never be discovered. Look, it's a lot of hard work, but it's also a little bit of luck. And the way you got into coaching, just help me clean up the story. But I think you're living with a guy. He gets offered a job, and it's a Friday afternoon. He calls either the athletic director, help me out here, and says, look, I can't take the job, but my roommate's standing here. He needs a job. He wants to get into coaching. You have a 5-minute conversation. That's a Friday afternoon. And then Monday, you're on the job.
Yeah. Yeah. It's who you know, right? And yeah, Curtis Riggs was my best friend. We were college teammates. He had a teaching job or he had a coaching job at Washington High School there in Sioux Falls. And it wasn't a full-time teaching job. And he got offered one at the one of the crosstown rivals, and took that opportunity to support his family that he was already building. And, when that happened, exactly that. Kim Nelson, the head coach at Washington, asked if he had any recommendations, and I happened to be right there. And so.
Do you remember what you were making?
Yeah. It was in the high 20s. I think it was high 20s, so but the best thing was I got to be.
You got a backup long snapper making that NIL now.
That's what I made for a long time, about 16 years probably. Yeah. So, but that was awesome. I got to be the weight room, run the weight program in the summer and be around the kids that way. There was so many positives. I was a head sophomore coach, and we went 8-0 my first year. I got to throw that in there, right?
So you really have won at every level.
I loved it. Yeah, right. Yeah. So, that sophomore team was the one that was it was a fun to be a part of. It got me into it, and I really found the love for coaching.
Your Coach Kalen DeBoer is with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Your perception of Alabama football was what, and was it reality when you got here and saw it?
Yeah, I mean, I just think.
Or do you know yet?
I think that yeah, the perception just was that it just the tradition, the history, the pride, is obvious, there through the championships. But I think there was always this understanding of how things were done, and it was done the right way, through discipline, through hard work, through physicality on the football field, just all those pieces that, whether they're core values or just the style of play, that I think everyone always looked to. You always look to the champions and then the ones that are the best of the best. And so there were so many, over the years, Coach Saban quotes, comments, videos, things that you'd kind of see through Alabama football. And obviously, breaking down film, you're always stealing from everyone. And, the red zone throws or whatever it might be, you're always taking that. And Alabama football is always a part of those things too. But it's been amazing. There's great people. And that's what made it all work, starting with Coach Saban. He surrounded himself with, great people that were extremely talented. And, he kept the direction, and that's, on the right direction, all in one. And, that's what we're doing here now.
I asked Coach Saban this one time about one of the more meaningful times that he had been disciplined growing up. And he told me a great tire-changing story after he'd thrown a couple of interceptions in a high school game. Discipline's part of coaching, whether you're disciplining players or holding people accountable for things. Can you tell me a time in your life that you can remember being disciplined either by a coach or a parent that really changed your direction or your life a little bit?
I mean, I was a pretty good kid. No, I don't know.
So you never bashed mailboxes with baseball bats?
I can't say that there was too many. I'm sure there was something. I think that what I had for coaches growing up in high school, they were just positive reinforcers, and just they did. Like, if you didn't do something right in a drill, whether it be I think about basketball and football in particular, you were redoing it. And the reinforcement of when you were good was even greater when things went well, and that's what I really try to do, is show our guys, what it should look like, and hold them accountable to that, and, we talk about practicing until you can't get it wrong. You practice until you always get it right. And so just keep with it. I think you always get better with reps. And so we talk a lot about the repetitions. You get better as a play caller with reps, you get better as a head coach with reps, you get better as a player, obviously, with the more reps you take. And so just trying to streamline things, trying to be efficient, and making sure that I got those pieces in place to where our guys can get those reps they need to be great.
On the theme of being a good kid, Tom Frederick, play-by-play, Sioux Falls, said in a decade working with you, this is hard to believe, said he never heard you say a cuss word. I just want to tell you, the last coach that didn't cuss in the SEC was Bobby Johnson at Vanderbilt.
I thought it was Gus Malzahn. I thought Gus didn't cuss either.
I think Gus would drop one occasionally.
Okay.
But Tom said, a decade, never one bad word out of your mouth.
He's up in the booth. He's up in the booth. He's a long ways away. Yeah, I don't know.
I think that was just his way, and it was an interview of saying, Kalen's a great guy.
Yeah, no, to me, there's a fire. Don't get me wrong. There's a fire, and there's a competitiveness that the guys see. I think they see that already in the workouts, and they feel that in how we meet in team meetings, and the standard that exists. It's still the same standard. It's just messaged a different way, I think. And I don't know. I just feel like you are who you are. And for me, finding ways to positively reinforce. I mean, obviously, there's a piece like you're kind of bringing up. There's a discipline moment or things like that. That still happens, But how do you message that? How do you deliver? And how do you work together with these guys for the players to understand that, hey, I'm fighting the same fight you are. I want the same things you want. We all want for you individually, and we want for our team to be great. That just comes through. Continue to be there to support them and help get them corrected. We talk about our coaches' jobs are to teach, critique, and demand. And so we're teaching, we're being critical of them, and we're demanding excellence and demanding as much as close to perfection as that we can. And their jobs are to grind, refine, and compete. And so the guys are grinding, they're refining their skills, and they're competing to be the best they can.
All right, a couple things we want to do. Lance has a list for you so we can get to know you a little bit better. But also our producer back in Birmingham, Rockstar, he's a musician, not a big sports guy. Are you a big music guy? Do you like music?
I like listening to music. But
okay. You got a favorite band or anything?
I like a lot of them.
Okay.
Listen to all kinds.
We're not going to pin you down on that one. Rockstar always has a question. We never know what it's going to be. Rockstar, Coach DeBoer is listening.
Hey, Coach, it's Rockstar. First question, real quick. Have you ever met another Kalen?
I have not. There are some more now, especially in the South Dakota area that I've heard of. So
there you go.
They're kind of the generation. I think that there's a few out there. I've not met them though.
And the second question, final question is, I'm hoping you're aware of Gordon Ramsay. If Gordon Ramsay came to your house tonight and said, cook me the DeBoer signature dish, what would that entail?
A lot of different, those that know me know that, that food options. I'm not too picky, but probably combination. I mean, it could be a bunch of different things. I mean, I love the meat and potato piece, just a good steak. I do like like Mexican tacos.
Yeah.
So those would probably be something, especially some of the areas I've lived out on the West Coast and Fresno. There was some good street tacos out there that I enjoyed.
We deep fry everything down here, though. That's what you got to get.
I'm good with that.
What makes it good?
I'm great with that.
Oh, it's so good. The food down here is so good. You're gonna love it.
Hey, some of the worst conditions I can remember. There was an Independence Bowl with A&M and Mississippi State.
Yeah, played in the snow.
You played South Dakota Tech, an 8-6 final.
Yeah.
And the word was like you couldn't even see 5 feet in front of your face, and the blizzard was so bad. Were you not called in to punt from your own 10-yard? No, you guys were on your own 10-yard line when you punted, right?
Yeah, the first time we did it, punting into the wind, and I mean, by the time I think it was 8 to 10 inches that it snowed that day, and so they just couldn't even keep up with it. And the game should never have been played.
Why did you guys play?
The game should never have been played. But we were number 1 in the country, or we were close to it, maybe number 2. And this was the only chance that the other team had to win. And I think they did everything they could to make sure that game happened. There was no one in the stands. I mean, there was at that level very few to begin with, but no one wanted to be there. And we punted into the wind the first time. And I think I don't think it was a positive punt. I don't think it went past the lines. And I think it actually went past the line of scrimmage and came back.
Blew back, yeah.
I think it came back. So from then on out, it was just the game was played in probably about 25 to 30 yards of the field. And then the quarter switched. And so when the quarter switched, you actually were with the wind and on a part of the field that had never been played. Well, instantaneously, you went 3 and out, right?
Just ice, right?
So now you did punt it with the wind, and it took a one hop and just stopped right on the 1 yard line. We got a safety, and we won the football game.
Wow.
It was 6-6 at the time.
The first thing I heard about you was how accessible you were. And I think it was one of our old friends, Ian Fitzsimmons from ESPN, covered you after the win against Texas. And he said that you said, I'll be back. And you went, you did all these interviews, and you still sat down for 10 minutes. And then I read, even going back to, you lost a game 55-0, and you go out in like blizzard conditions and you climb a ladder to a press box to do like a 30-minute sit down.
That's the worst.
Are you too excessive?
That was the worst defeat ever. That's one. I learned a lot from that one though. 55-0 at Carroll, Montana, Helena, Montana. And I don't remember if it was a ladder, but I do remember you had to make a special effort to get there to do the post game with Tom, who you brought up earlier. And
you should have been cussing at that one, by the way.
Internally there was a lot of cussing going on. But, I mean, just kind of had your lick your wounds on that one. We weren't a better team to begin with, but the conditions were not favorable, and the next year I learned a lot because our kids, we had a lot of the same kids back, and we went and won the national championship the next year. And I remember getting on that plane thinking, are we really 55 points worse than the team that we just played? And our kids showed resiliency, and that's what I think I've always learned, is that kids are more resilient than you think, and they get back to work pretty quickly, and we did exactly that.
Man, status of money changed so many people. I'll never forget, we were at the Regions golf tournament that I guess you'll be playing in the next couple of months. I don't know if you've been told that, but
you do play golf, right?
It's on the calendar.
Well,
okay, good.
He has to. He's from Millbank, South Dakota, the home of American Legion, where you played baseball, basketball, football, everything. I forgot what my point was going to be here.
Nothing about golf. You were talking about how money changed.
Yeah. So we had Kirby on, and Kirby sat down with us, and this is probably 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah, it was 5 or 6 years ago. And he's like, how much longer is your break? And I said, look, when you win a national championship, we'll never talk to you again.
Yeah.
And we talked to him a little bit, not as much.
But then he started talking about wine. We're like, Kirby, you didn't drink wine when you were defensive coordinator
He's playing
in Alabama.
Ball, drinking wine. I'm just saying, it's pretty amazing that you've stayed kind of humble to those roots throughout this journey.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know any better, and that's just what those are special times to me. All those places and the people I've been around, they're so special. I mean, every stop along the way. And I think especially, I mean, they all are, even assistant coach spots, but I think the ones where you're a head coach and you pour everything into the program you're at, Sioux Falls, Fresno State, Washington, you pour everything into it, and you're bringing people together, and those are the ones that are special. And obviously that's what we have here in Alabama.
Have you been in a grocery store or somewhere else where somebody's recognized you yet? I saw the wife threw out the first pitch at softball. Has it been there's the Alabama coach moment yet?
Oh yeah, that's happened. I don't know if I'm to Coach Saban status or anything like that, where he goes around and I think it's everyone's around him. But certainly is the case. I mean, I think everyone follows the program so closely. I think it's it's just part of it. But you embrace that. That's a special privilege to be here and be in this role, and you embrace it and you love it.
Yeah, your days of going to getting beer with the guys are probably over.
Yeah.
I mean, that's okay. That's okay though, right?
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Do we have time for a list?
We got time for a list real quick. Oh, okay. I thought you were hitting the list already. Knock it out.
No, I saw Maxon look at that watch.
Yeah, I know. Josh is nervous. Well, we make Josh nervous, Coach.
Yeah, we could go fast. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. If I ask you, okay, here we go. One game, one quarterback, Brady or Mahomes?
Man.
Both in their prime, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I would go Brady. Still.
There's no wrong answer.
Yeah, I think I would go Brady.
That's tough.
Would you rather have a good Western or a good war movie?
Probably a good war movie.
Okay.
What's the best war movie?
I was going to say Saving Private Ryan or Apocalypse Now.
Ryan.
Saw Hamburger Hill last night. You ever seen that one?
Yeah. No, I haven't.
It's good.
But, I don't know. There's those ones. Those are, I would say, a war movie.
Okay, so we kind of grew up around the same time. I thought the 80s movies were a lot of fun. My kids still love them. Do you have a favorite 80s movie?
I love the sports movies. Was it Hoosiers?
Hoosiers was phenomenal.
Bull Durham was 80s.
Yeah,
Major League was 80s.
All those. The humor, the ones with humor, but
Caddyshack.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, you've seen both up close and personal. More impressive, the Space Needle or Mount Rushmore?
Man, see, I'm gonna have to. I think the Space Needle is probably more impressive. But obviously now I'm going against my home state, and the pride I have for South Dakota. But it's pretty impressive being in the Space Needle and looking out over everything that you can see from Rainier to the lake, to all the lake and everything around there.
Yeah, Rocky, what was the show we watched with the drones that covered America?
Aerial America.
Aerial America, Smithsonian. I remember watching one on Seattle, and there's one dude that changes that bulb at the top of the Space Needle. I can't even imagine.
One fun fact with the with Mount Rushmore. I mean, it's happened so long ago, it probably doesn't matter, but I have been on top of Mount Rushmore.
Oh, really?
Have you really?
I didn't know that was allowed.
It's not.
Jimmy Stewart was on it in North by Northwest.
Especially, it was my probably 2005 or 2006. Some of us coaches, right after the signing day time, went out there, and special security. We had a player on our team, and his dad was in charge of the security, and he got us up there before it opened.
Wow.
One day, and gotten it behind there. And so I wish we'd had the phones now with more pictures.
Yeah, I know.
We didn't capture enough pictures back then, or at least good ones, and so that was a pretty special moment.
Do you remember your first significant concert? Who it was?
When we were in college, we used to work a lot of them at the fair there, and so I can't say I was an attendee, but I was as a football player, you were there. So I think it was a lot of the country, like Tim McGraw, and I think Garth Brooks.
Heck yeah.
Some of those. I think, a lot of those.
First car you drove?
Chevy Blazer.
Well, that's me too.
Wow.
Mid-'80s model, probably.
Yeah.
Mine was an 88. I totaled it.
Yeah.
Mine was a Ford LTD with no reverse. You had to be creative on date night.
Yeah.
Park on a hill.
Yeah, you would have to be.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure that one out.
That only happened twice a year for him, so it's no big deal.
Do you remember your first job?
Yeah, I mean, a job where I got paid.
Yeah.
I worked on a farm when I was growing up, so that was a job right there. But
was it Millbank?
Yeah, it was outside of Millbank. But I worked in the rec department, mowing lawns and taking care of the fields,
lining fields,
all that good stuff.
I used to do that.
Yeah.
I used to love lining.
You don't have to do that at Bryant Denny. They got somebody do that.
They got someone?
Yeah, they got somebody. You're good.
Most famous person in your cell phone, not Nick Saban.
Not Brock Heward.
I'm not sure. Brock's up there. Gotta give him some credit.
But it's a legendary quarterback, Brock Heward.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's some good ones. You're on the quarterback legendary. The one I think of, one of my favorites is Warren Moon back there.
Oh, heck yeah.
So, I mean, since we're on the quarterback and all that,
Yeah, just two more. Last sporting event you actually paid to attend.
That's. You're trying to put me on the spot on that one. It could be some wrong answers.
Well, not really. I don't know. I didn't think I would think it's been forever since you actually went as a spectator.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Okay.
It's been a while. So I'm sure there's one in there.
You can circle back on that one. I wasn't trying to trip you up. And then finally, if you had to give up one forever, pillow or blanket?
I think the spectator one would probably be some event like my kids' events.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it would be. That's what it would be.
Because even if they let you in free, you want to support this program, right? Yeah.
Little club softball.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Pillow or blanket? You got to give one up forever.
Oh man. I mean, I'd probably give up the pillow, I guess, because you can turn the blanket into a pillow.
That's true. See,
so
resourceful.
He's a resourceful guy.
You don't get to the top of Mount Rushmore without that kind of creativity right there. Man, thank you for the time, Coach. And thanks for opening the doors for us. I'm glad you're here. We watched on signing day. I watched you interact with the coaches. They all seem like tremendously great guys, and the interaction you guys have, it's really good. We're looking forward to working with you in the future. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Kalen DeBoer, and that's the show today from Tuscaloosa, the next round. We're back with you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central Time. Until next time, God bless you, and God bless America.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown,